We are tWoTcast, episode 417.
No, he doesn't want to.
No. Okay.
All right, everyone, shut the f*** up. Let's ready to record.
We like to start every show by yelling, "We are tWoTcast." Can you do that with me? On the count of 1, 2, 3, go. We are tWoTcast. Now we can start.
The Wheel of Time, re-read podcast, explicit in R, freaking rated. Jono's the wild guy, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man, he's a total dick. Tom is still obsessed with X-Men.
Previously on X-Men.
We are
You're watching tWoTcast, Wheel of Time, re-read podcast, now covering the Wheel of Time in a re-read podcast. I'm Jono, with me is Joe.
Oh, hey, Jono.
Hey, Owie.
Hi.
And Tommy Bear.
Study your math.
Okay.
Go Birds.
Oh. You're an Arizona Cardinal fan?
Go Birds.
Yeah,
Super Bowl. Super
Oh,
Bowl.
Dirty Birds, Falcons fan. I got that wrong. We're in Atlanta. That makes sense. I apologize for that.
You can't say anything is Go Birds except the Eagles. They trademarked it. It's illegal.
It's illegal, Jono.
So what is Goo Birds? Like, so Goo Birds sounds like it's probably like an STD, maybe.
How did you even read these books? You can't even read.
Hey, Mr. Stovey's doing a bird survey.
Oh. What is a bird survey?
I don't know. Trying to figure out what the slogan Go Birds.
It's probably an offshoot of bird law. Not a lot of people know about.
Oh, okay. So, because is it surveying birds, a woman, if you will, from the 60s jargon? I'm very confused. Very interesting, by the way.
That was a sideways Austin Powers show. We all know it.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I don't know how much preamble we want or need, considering that last week we didn't finish the entire thing, and therefore we have an extra chapter tacked on to this.
Should be revelatory. We never have to finish the entire thing.
I
Just
mean,
change the
I think we
chapters.
did pretty good, Jono.
You know what I mean?
Pretty
Just
well.
change it up.
Oh, okay.
We're not
This
on a
week on
strict schedule.
podcast was scheduled.
Spend the whole hour on 32 and then we're done.
I am good to do that. I have. I also forgot that my notes kicked off on the chapter 30, and all I wrote was motorboat and son of a bitch. And so I was like, "What are we talking about?" Chapters earlier. That's when parents crying into his soon-to-be wife's tits.
Oh, that's right.
Are Phil's tits built for speed or for comfort?
Both. Ideal woman.
That's an excellent question. I don't know the answer.
Like a
Where is
deck
she?
boat.
Still in the house?
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So last week Tom died, but he's better now, and we're glad about that. Well,
Or is it worse?
we're okay.
Are you better this week, Tom, or less better?
No,
Better?
worse. Last week it was just too cold.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's right. You're sick now, but next week
Now I'm
you'll be
sick.
better.
Nah, it's probably just going to be like whatever.
Yeah. Well.
That's the first time you're hearing this intro. You've missed the beginning of the show every time, then.
You're not missing much. It's also more exposition than necessary.
Never heard the phrase boot knocking grooves before. That should be a whole subgenre of music.
It's yeah.
Can you get an infomercial for that? Like while you're up late at night watching
Yeah, that's what it.
Jimmy
Check out
Fallon.
these 4 CDs of boot knocking grooves.
Now that's what I call boot knocking grooves volume 4. Let's go.
How much
Hey,
is shipping?
spoilers
and
for the whole book
handling?
series, and maybe the show if we talk about it, but probably not. But spoilers just in case.
Also, spoilers for Jimmy Fallon's show later tonight. They're going to be selling some. That's what I call
For
boot
the,
knocking
for the commercial breaks. Jimmy
Yeah,
Fallon.
sorry. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
watch
for
the
the
other part of the show. It's just the commercials. I also don't watch the
which is
show.
fine. Which is fine.
Can you spoil a commercial? I guess maybe a
Yes!
Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, it's a Super Bowl thing. Goo Birds, right? Goo Birds.
Yeah, Go Birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only team that can say that.
Legally, it was.
Yeah,
That's why I had to add, that's why I had to add 8 O's. I would have just written "Go Birds."
Should we copyright that? Go Birds.
If I had just written "Go Birds," it would have been the same as
with 8 O's.
playing like copyrighted music. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah, we'd be taking off.
The NFL would have shut us the fuck down.
You don't need a Duke now, Tom. You need a DJ.
Yeah, we've been shut down.
Is
by
there actually
Amazon,
8 O's?
Facebook. Yeah,
What a coincidence. Actually, hard to count though.
well, you have to
My
get
eyes
closer
just-
with your
I
whole
mean,
banana.
if we got it, Jono, if we have an extra chapter to do, we should probably dive in.
So this is chapter 32, questions to be asked, which is of course a Jeopardy area. What are questions to be asked to make it even more confusing and philosophical?
Excellent. Hey, you know what? You did not make that same joke
Oh.
4 years ago. Good work.
Yeah, it's I don't know if it's a compliment to my current self or the exact opposite. How many jokes are just instantly recycled without intending to? Literally,
It's just our brains
it's just never
are wired a certain way, and we're drunk and forget that we've done them.
Do you think you're kind of remembering it, or do you think that you're coming up with it anew all over again?
I don't know if I think it's new. I'm just that's just what comes to mind is the exact same dick joke, pussy joke, tit joke. As again, what year did we do this?
I don't remember.
Like 12 or 13 years ago.
It was,
So
I
I was in the
think it was 2012 or 2011.
I am sick of
I don't
us
know
not
when we got to
remembering.
book 4.
I'm so tired of us not remembering anything.
No, I meant
really
this
bad.
specific episode. I know when we started the show.
I need to I'm gonna get an exact timeline.
We should get this tattoo. That's the only tattoo I'm going to get. It's just when I started this dumb
You're
podcast,
never gonna let
just
me
so I can constantly reference it. And that'll be fun.
just not care.
Probably right after we quit doing this show.
But I do care. It's history at this point. It's literally history. It's that long.
It was June 13th, 2011 that we covered this chapter.
Oh my god!
So I was 26.
Yeah,
Wait, it was 14 years ago. We were doing book 4. Well, I guess we pushed.
We
through
covered
books
them a lot
real
faster
fast in the
than that,
beginning,
yeah.
like 4
Yeah.
episodes apiece.
Mhm.
4 episodes. apiece.
by book 4 we had gone up to 6 episodes. We stretched it out as Brandon Sanderson pushed back the last book. Like every time he pushed the last book back, we'd push more episodes into our show.
Can
Thanks,
you even
Brandon.
imagine if you were just like, all right, we're going to cover 14 chapters tonight? I'd be like, you fuck yourself.
Are you out of your fucking mind? Yeah, that's the whole point of doing this, Tom.
What, I got to take the day
Cover
off
all
of
the
work?
stuff we just glossed over before. It's a travel chapter, classic D&D game / fantasy book novel montage. Go.
Chapter 32. Yeah, like you said. And this is them going to Watch Hill.
I mean, they're all getting ready to leave. They're all getting ready to leave the Alcine farm, and they're gonna like start heading towards like Watch Hill to get the girls back / the other captives or whatever. But I mean, I don't know. There's a couple things. The one thing I noted was I like that Varen was puzzling over the hammer and doesn't say anything. I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know what that means. Maybe she saw something in Dark Prophecies. Yeah.
That's one of the places you're going to be excited by this. I would love to have seen more of the Dark Prophecies because
Oh
clearly,
yeah. 100%.
like one exists in the beginning of chapter 2 or of book 2, and it's like fascinatingly and massive ramifications for everything that happens literally right now.
Mhm.
On more than one fucking character.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I've got a giant way to try to just get us right off task later on. Very excited
I
about
can't
it.
wait.
But like the whole thing, I'm like, so that's one. What else the fuck do you guys have? I really like it. So more, please, more. Also, is it evil eyes to die?
That I wrote down the exact words that parents said. Abel was as good a judge of whore's flesh as there was in the 2 rivers. Those are the exact words. It's a pretty good judge of whore's
Is
flesh.
it? It's a bunch of backcountry rednecks. Who gives a fuck?
As there was in the entirety of the 2 rivers?
All 10
Compared
people?
to-
They're the salt of the earth.
Yeah,
I'm like,
with this guy.
who's his competition?
Yeah, Hugh and Tad mucking out the
Yeah.
second endurance. Yeah,
Yeah. Do a barrel roll. Thanks, Dom. Hey, Dom's here.
Thanks, Dom. Yeah. What would we do without him?
What would we
So I
do without it? Varen knows the prophecy from when Perrin gives up the axe for the hammer or something like that. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, she's right. That is
Something like she's like, "Oh, is it now? It's now the time."
Yeah. I love that.
Just in the comments, like, God damn it, you idiots!
Yeah.
I have to help you again.
Yeah.
I think it would make me feel good if I was Daniel Luhu. I'd just be like, "I get to tell these
Oh, I
guys
got to
what's up
contribute.
again, idiots."
You've had a podcast for this long and you still don't?
It's
Yeah,
a
we
rookie.
are.
I try and brag.
I've got to imagine. Like, can you imagine this from like Varen's point of view? The entire she knows so much more than everyone from both sides.
Yeah.
Like, really, not really constrained by much, right?
No,
because
she basically do whatever she wants. Yeah.
It's got to be the most like just fun viewpoint to be in.
It's like she's there for
Good.
fun. Let's say the Trollocs had overrun the two rivers. Would she have been safe?
It's a great find a fade. Not to a beer draw should be all right.
I mean,
She would have been like,
Yeah.
and some hand signal. The mirror troll would have been like, "Oh, not that one."
Yeah.
what's the signal for a dark friend? Wait, let's not do hand signals for evil people right now.
I know what the hand signal for Darkfriend is. There's two of them.
Oh, okay.
What is the first one?
I'm not gonna do them.
You
what's the second
you
one?
massage your temples like you're helping somebody with a headache, but you're really not.
Uh-oh. And what's the second one?
You massage their vagina with your tongue.
Yeah.
Like
I
you're
don't
trying
think there's much cunnilingus going on
to release some
there.
tension.
He thinks about asking Varen about the wolves, like I said, but he dismisses it because he doesn't know if he can trust her, which is interesting. Because later on, she's like, "By the way, don't trust Alana." And he's like, "What?"
I do love that. That comes up. Is that in this chapter?
No, I think
Or
it's
is it- either way, it's one of my favorite. Like the non sequiturs she goes through, they're like point by point, radically bizarre. But in this chapter, Perrin finds once they get to the Alcine farm, Layla Dern, which of course was his high school quote unquote sweetheart, who has had a kid and gotten fat.
Jono.
Are you
This
sure
day
it's
in
not Dr.
podcast
Ellie
is-
Sadler from Jurassic Park?
Well, they get to Jack Alcine's farm. There's a ton of people there hanging out.
Layla Dean. She's all.
Who's that?
That's
is that
the-
his?
That's his former girlfriend.
Yeah,
who's
who's
you know,
now
with,
fat.
with a kid who's chubbed up a little bit in childbirth. I wouldn't say fat. It's
That he used to
chubbed
want to
up.
marry. This is almost like Perrin going back to his high school reunion.
Yeah, pretty
Just
much.
being
Yeah.
like, "Oh, check it out."
But he brought like a much hotter girl who's like,
Yeah.
like much richer too.
Basically came back with an awesome job and a supermodel girlfriend.
Oh yeah, this
And
is
a
the
really-
same one who was the goat chick, right?
A really cool entourage.
This is the same girl who was like really pretty.
I don't know.
Presumably not, because now instead of a goat, she's more of a cow apparently. That's not.
I
very
just
nice.
really like when he gets a look at her that then there's just a sentence that's only 2 words long and it just says he shivered. I really dodged a bullet there. Holy shit!
Holy shit! Thank God I pulled out and came on her stomach.
Close fucking call.
That could have been mine.
Thank God I pulled out early.
What if we just
the end of
play
that.
the old episodes and like lip sync?
Yeah, or I was gonna say like we can just add more commentary to our commentary.
No, I like the idea of us pretending to laugh the entire time, just like
Yeah, really, we should be like recording these and then like I'll edit them all together.
When we're done with this, we'll do a re-listen, and like we'll do like 2 minutes at a time, and then we'll comment on what we said at the time.
Anyway,
just director's cut of our own shit,
By the time we're done with that, we'll re-listen to these ones,
and
do
then
the
there's
same
gonna be
thing.
someone else who's gonna actually do the series, and
then we'll do-
Tom will take part.
Eventually, we'll do the
Oh my
re-listen.
God.
Look, all we have to do is keep this show going until somebody does a money grab and puts out new books.
Yeah. like us.
It will happen.
I mean, we're doing book 15, right?
Well, yeah, I guess we already started the money grab.
As soon as it's in the public domain, we're gonna do book 15.
Just
How
wait
long does
100
that take?
years.
Not
It's
a
like
patent attorney.
70 years or something like that.
Oh.
I don't know. Popeye's in the public domain now. You can do Popeye.
Yeah. And Winnie the Pooh. And Mickey Mouse.
No, only Steamboat Mickey.
Oh, that's right. Why have the Trollocs been holding back? Fael says there must be a reason. But why? And then Varen's like, it's a lore, you idiots. It's a lore, you idiots.
Do you remember how you got here? You heard a rumor?
But really, she's like, I'm well aware. I'm well aware what the reason is.
The guy with you is the fucking bait, or was baited. He's the fish.
Yeah.
Everything that you're doing was intentional.
Well, not for him. It's for Rand.
Well,
yeah, that's true. It is more for Rand. But Patton Fane wants the other two as well.
Yeah, I find it interesting because like he knows how much he can tell. Like, you know, it's not Rand, it's one of the other two dickheads. But he still absolutely wants him dead. So, guess what's going to happen? Spoiler: Perrin dies.
Patton Fane needs a lot of therapy. He's really blaming a lot of other people for his problems.
And then the chapter ends with Luke's coming. Unless you want to hit anything else in that chapter.
No, other than the fact that I guess just
except
state of the farm of like the kids are on the roofs and Luke's trying to help them, but really he's setting them up for failure. But he's like gathering farmers up to like in small groups that can be conveniently.
Do you remember? Like if there's one part, and I forget which, if it's this chapter or the next one. Like Luke comes, he's like, "Gather round, gather round."
Can you all hear me? Can you all see me?
And that's.
I was going to say, I thought you meant when Luke showed up and they did that song from Beauty and the Beast about Gaston.
Yeah, yeah.
That's his energy.
It's funny. So we're going to jump into chapter 33, which is a new weave in the pattern. Do you know what's weird is how close smashing it now.
No one weaves like Gaston. Oh wait, that's not what the weave is.
How close like Luke is described to what's his name? The Morgase's fuck buddy. Like wings of white in his hair, being very tall. Robin. Or Lord Dickfor.
Gabriel.
Which is interesting considering that this is actually Rand's uncle and therefore his, like, you know, her ex. I guess it would be her son. It's just her son. No, not her son. Her cousin. Her cousin twice removed or some shit. Yeah, sorry, I got drunk and forgot shit. But it's just very fascinating how like they're kind of like large presence men, wings of white at their hair, and like they kind of just have this like slightly just arrogance to them.
I mean, that's not that weird.
It is weird. I just said it.
Psychologically, it's not weird that Morgaze is trying to fuck her dad.
Cousin.
Yeah, her cousin. I mean, it's pretty common.
Luke is just trying to feed his army. I mean, that's a good point. We don't get to see it from the Trollocs' perspectives.
He's already killed all the fucking wolves. Yeah, but what else are they gonna eat?
Yeah.
Some with children on the roof.
Yeah, put the kids up high. They get picked off immediately.
Yeah, put the people most likely to be incapable of really helping up on top, so that
Morgaze is not related to Luke, Jono.
I realized that after I said it. It's her third cousin, kind of. Well, 300th cousin.
300th?
Yeah. What? So they realize that like all the fucking like families are related, quote unquote. Like, they'll draw themselves back to it. But when Rand's like, well, if you guys were like, you know, farmers, would you call yourself a cousin? Like, no, not it's instead her sons, because Luke Mantiar is from like her, like
300 or so.
How many times removed? He dies just once, and then a second time. So I guess he's removed once.
Jesus Christ! Why, man? Anyway, chapter 33. Luke shows up. It's like Luke's sister was married to Morgaze's husband, though. Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, related, right?
So, do you want to go into this bizarre? And I can wait for Tom. Like
I
one
mean,
of the things I spent far too much time thinking about personally was Gitara. The Keeper of the Chronicles, her foretellings being probably one of the most underappreciated. And if we were to ever do an episode of like things you don't think of that were really important, Gitara Mosravi is probably like number one because she has 3 foretellings that we know of. One sends Luke to the Blight. Second one sends Tigraine to the Aiel Waste. The third one says Rand's alive, and then she fucking dies in the middle of it, which is very, closing a loop on herself. It's got to be like the most like underappreciated character for what the fuck she does, because like Rand later on in this
very specific, very important information at very key moments in time. Yeah, for sure. Anyway,
I find it
that's pretty
fascinating.
crazy. I mean, it's kind of what they talk about. I mean, we're about to kind of talk about that obviously in chapter 34, but like it's kind of
100%
about with the bloodlines and like when he's talking with Rourke about like what you see in the
water seeking or water giving is being like the number one thing.
I would never been. I might have been born, but not on Dragonmount, and that wouldn't have been like like all these things would have changed. There might not have been an Aiel War, like all this shit. It's crazy. It's almost like
it's
almost like the
fascinating. I think that it's just like a really underappreciated thing of like how, and also it's kind of like fucked up. Sorry, I was burping. How much she like creates her own doom.
He's Rand and Gallet's uncle. Like Lightful said, pretty sure he's the uncle that shows up the holidays and talks about how great the Dark One is. I mean, don't we all right now?
I don't.
She was a bit of a homewrecker. That's true.
Yeah, well,
inadvertently. She's just giving them the information. They're doing with it what they choose.
And then she dies when she finds out that her information was correct because Rand's birth is her death. Like I love that.
That's pretty fucked up, actually. So Luke doesn't like Perrin right away, and he's like, "What the fuck's going on with that?" It's almost like he recognizes me, and obviously it's from Tel'aran'rhiod, but like it's also from
Facebook post.
Being a Dark Friend, right?
He saw him on Instagram as well. There's a couple different
like Ishamael is like, "Hey, these 3 kids are super important," and blah blah blah.
So
does he know?
Presumably, Luke would definitely, or Slayer would be there in some form or fashion. I guess it would be Isom because that happened in the World of Dreams in book 2. But either way, I'm pretty sure he's clued in as fuck. So yeah, he knows who he is. Tom, I don't know if you heard, but we're gonna do a 30-minute fucking segment just on Gitara Mosravi.
Okay.
Yeah. But we're not gonna do it now. We're gonna do it. Why are you taking your shirt off now after you come back outside?
Put my battery pack into my vest.
Ah, you charged up?
I think so.
Battery pack. It's Gitara Morosa.
All right. No, why did I say Mosravi?
Mosvani is Alana's name. Is this? I mean, is this obvious to anyone at this point that Luke is Slayer and that's why he recognizes Perrin, or are you just suspicious in general?
I think
it's obvious immediately.
That he's Slayer?
That they're the same? I don't think that he's Slayer that fast.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think it's very... It doesn't feel very subtle.
I thought he was like a white cloak plant the first time around, or working with the Trollocs somehow, or like just a dark friend in general. Like I was obviously suspicious of him, but I don't think I was like, he's clearly Slayer, the guy that Perrin just ran into in the World of Dreams.
14 years ago, did we say it?
No. We kind of like touched on it for like a minute. Again, we covered the chapters pretty quickly sometimes.
I do love that we had time for sex jokes, and that's about it.
I mean, you gotta do that.
Yeah.
It's kind of what we still have.
Yeah. Well, let's go.
Less sex jokes than we just like more just random jokes about what the fuck ever or conversations. And then we're like, oh yeah, we're talking about the book. Anyway, this happened. All right, moving on.
So moving on. So Luke comes in.
That's how it should be.
Yes. I don't think we talked about it. Will Alstein's wet fucking look at Fail in chapter 32.
Yeah, I wrote he's kind of the new Aram.
Wet look.
With
His
fire.
wet look.
Yeah, he was definitely
Yeah.
staring her up and down, trying to see whether or not she was, moistening at the vagina. And
He's
now,
like the handsome guy in school just looking at her like, look, she likes parents. She's going to fucking love me. Let's go.
and then, what's her response? She definitely does the up and down on Lord Luke here, and
Yeah.
it doesn't go so well. Well, at least not
Yeah, he's
first.
like,
With
gross. Get away from me.
you unibrowed piece of shit. Get the fuck.
She
out of
doesn't
here.
have a unibrow.
That's some bad
apparently
casting.
Explains why their current plan is a bad one. Gets them all to move on to Emmons Field. I
Why do you
mean, we
choose a
can
unibrow?
go
'Cause you
over more of that in detail, but like,
Do you picture her with a bird's face? And just kind of naturally put a unibrow there?
is she like an ostrich, like in Sunny?
Where did this come from?
What goes on in?
I
her
think
brain?
it's because they talk about her strong nose and like
the nose.
her
Like a bird.
yeah, like a bird. Kind of already
Like a
halfway
bird.
there. Yeah, and yeah,
I mean, I'm pretty
But I
sure
just-
she's supposed to be pretty hot.
no,
No?
one else is attracted to
I
her.
mean,
Name one
Let me
person
see.
who's ever like, well, they're hot. Like
We literally just talked about it.
they were like, this is Will Alstein. He's gonna fuck anything that moves because he's hot, and he's like, you know what? I haven't seen anything that's outside of this goddamn.
yeah,
district
when you're Will Alcine and you live in the Two Rivers, there's not a lot of
for
Well,
Ryan.
more
no
discerning.
people that aren't your cousins.
Yeah.
If he can bang
You
just
know?
about anybody, then what? Like, why bang everybody? Then right, that's a stupid question.
Yeah. Yeah, what else you got here, dumbass?
Never mind. This is dumb.
And Lord Luke's just been banging fucking Trollocs, and that's not fun. You know how wide
yeah.
those vaginas are?
Oh my god, what is Slayer's sex life like? That's got to be real fucked up.
He's
what he
a
likes to do.
Camelin 6. Wyman said, "Fuck anybody who has a different eye color." You know, good advice. Good
okay.
advice for being in the Two Rivers.
Yeah, presumably.
Man,
So
Brand
back
must
to
have been
Tom's
getting a lot of
question.
ass. No one's
Uh,
got blue eyes.
Yeah. There's a lot of brown eyes though. Talking about their buttholes. Because that's different. You're not gonna get pregnant that way
Yeah, it's
unless it really
different,
just spooges out.
You can definitely get
Jesus
pregnant that way,
Christ.
100%.
God damn. Anyway,
It's all inside. It's all connected. It just makes its way. It takes a long time to get there. It gets there.
Yeah.
It gets there.
Unless felching.
every festival in the Two Rivers is just a family reunion.
It's weird they're all called fuck
Ryan,
fest.
you always feel dirty. Anyway, Jesus Christ, we need to move along.
No, we're
These
doing great.
We don't need
9
to.
o'clock.
No, you're right. You're right. You're fine. We're fine.
All right. So as you mentioned, he has
yeah.
a speech, and all of a sudden they're like, "Whoa, we're really dumb. We're just sitting up here with children on top who can't fucking pull a bow, and we don't have any sort of line of sight and all that shit." Yeah, we should just go back to Emmons Field, and so they go to Emmons Field.
Yeah, but you need more than that.
Yeah, but also, I mean, there's also like the number. You'll have numbers there, and like blah blah blah. Like I get it all. It makes complete sense. I think it's
It does.
interesting that he's surprised how quickly they're like, "All right." A lot of them are like, "What about my farm?" He's like, "What about that baby?" And he's like, "Oh shit! All right, yeah, good point."
So I have a theory.
What about that, babe?
What about that? Pregnant ex-girlfriend from high school.
We talked about it before. There's a lot of like the women's circle has an outside, like outsized kind of like.
Is she pregnant?
No, she's already
think
given
so.
one out. She's just
I
not
was
lost
gonna
that
say.
pregnant weight.
I think
That's
he's.
still a
I don't
baby.
think he's referencing her. There's some other pregnant woman in the room.
He's just fat shaming new moms and pregnant ladies.
Yeah,
It was the 90s, Austin.
I don't remember what we were.
Parents just like, I'm built like the Rock. What about you pussies? You look
I
like
had a
shit.
very-
Fat.
You're cool. I had a very sexist thing and I lost it. I'm very upset by that.
Oh,
Oh, here we
yeah.
go. Obviously, this plan was influenced by the women's circle, which of course has everything. And this time, a man inserts logic and therefore it all works, and everyone's like, "Oh, that makes sense." So they go to Emma's field.
Oh, it's the
wanna
women that
comment on
convince all the dumbass farmers to go, John.
After Perrin.
Perrin just points out that the farm isn't as important as the children.
Don't ruin my sexism.
They just need
Right, sorry.
they need a leader, and they had one that was just like, just stay here, and they were like, okay. And then they had a better leader come that's Taviran, and they're like, just leave. And they're like, okay.
Is this Festus? Yeah, they have,
They have
pizza
feet
strength.
strength on winter night.
Yeah, for sure they do.
Yeah.
Do they have the
do
airing
Like
of
in
grievances?
Scotland where they're chucking the logs, something like that, probably.
They have that. Yeah. I mean, like, it is really like pretty festivizzy.
One of the girls
Anyway.
that worked for me told me that somebody in the next building down was on Seinfeld. And I was
Really?
like, what? Who? What did he do? And she's like, I don't know. I didn't know anything besides that. She's only 26 years old.
Yeah,
It's
she
like,
had no-
I need you to
like,
find
I
out.
haven't
She's
seen
like,
the show.
she's like, I don't remember. I don't really remember who it was. Like, I just remember it came up one time. Like,
What you do is just Seinfeld. It was just Jerry Seinfeld.
he works at the fucking call center, the other end of the building.
He's like, I was bored.
I think it must have just been an extra, but I'm like, I need to find out more about this.
So they head to the White Cloak camp.
How realistic
Perrin impulsively
this-
stops at other farms along the way because he's like, fuck, I can't
is
just,
it gonna
I
take
can't
all
just
day?
send all those people away and then leave this next farm just sitting there thinking they're there.
I mean, that's a good instinct. If you're
Yeah.
blowing up the defenses, you might as well tell everybody. Like, not
Yeah.
just be like farm 3. You'll be like, they'll be fine. We don't have time for that.
Fuck him.
It's just
I love
funny
this-
how he starts adding boys to his little group of.
Well,
Like,
hold on.
It's funny. Oh, he calls them boys, and he's like, most of them are actually older than me. So I mean, they're probably like 20, 21 or something. I mean, for the most part.
Old enough to drink and fuck. That's actually what's written on
Yeah.
their tattoo.
But it's just funny how he refers to them as boys. We added more boys. Me and the boys are gonna run around killing Trollocs.
I do love this little piece from like Varen. She's like, taking notes like, oh, this is Taviran on a small scale. No offense to you, Perrin. And then she says to him, like, Rand has the sword, I take it. And he's, yes. And then just instantly, watch yourself with Alana. That's such a literal, just like ABC. Like, those are some
Perrin
disconnected
literally
dots.
says her jumping around from topic to topic is throwing me off. Like he's like, I don't know if I should have said yes to that, but yeah, he has the sword kind of thing. And then he's like, well, she knows. And then she's like, by the way, watch out for Alana. And he's like, wait, what?
Perrin also like a bird.
Perrin's
on.
like a bird?
It's interesting. Yeah,
Cool birds,
like an owl.
Goo birds.
She's the wise
Goo
owl.
Watch out for Alana. She's a rapist, but don't worry, she'll rape someone else.
I can't remember. Does it come up later? Does she explain why, or does she just think Alana's just erratic and insane?
Yeah.
She's erratic, but like, we find out later on, Varen's been kind of slowly stoking and stroking that. Like, she kind of
She just wants to see what's going to happen. She can't wait.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Try
next one,
promise.
she's just like, this really, like I pulled it off. Look what she
Yeah.
did. Or is it the book after?
It's
The
in
Lord
book
of Chaos
5
or-
when the actual bonding happens.
Okay, so it's
6.
good.
It's got to be 6, actually. Sorry. So they get to the
Who
White
knew
Cloak
Alana
camp.
would play such a key part? Even now, reading this, and you're just like,
Even when after that happened, I didn't think she was going to play that big of a role.
she really comes into play at the end of this series.
How do you spell that?
Comes into play at the end of this series.
CUM.
Yeah, the
obviously.
first word.
No, not gonna do that.
Fayo spends the whole day making wreaths of flowers,
That was so bad I didn't even get it.
dangling them
She's a
on.
squirter. CUMS.
Is Fayo making
blood
wreaths of flowers
cave.
because Bane and Chiad were like, "Hey, if you give him a wreath of flowers, that means you're married."
I don't think so, no. I think that's
Also,
reading
why
way
is she
too far
suddenly
into
on
this.
board? Is it just because he was a badass, or she was impressed with how he handled Luke and/or the farm people, or?
Well, he's taking charge. Like Fail gets wet for this.
Yeah,
shit.
so just
Like,
seeing
he's
him as a
taking
leader,
charge,
or
yeah.
is it like part of the Taverns shit is affecting her? Is that fucking her up? The Taverns?
Why not? We're fucking her
I think
down.
she wants to
depending.
see him achieve his potential and be like what she sees.
And he's
whenever
finally
she
doing it,
sees
so
him
she's like,
actually
"Fucking
doing it. She's
finally."
just like,
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah.
Yep, that's
I mean,
that's
like,
the
the
man I want to
parents-
marry.
Certified
she's always-
badass here.
Anytime she's disappointed him, it's because like you could be doing so much better. Why aren't you? It's frustrating.
Yeah, she is. As much as I dislike many things about her, most of the time, Most of the time she's pretty like at least pro Perrin in many ways. And here he's kind of like working on that, and she's, of course she's in favor of it.
Well, she gets. I mean, she's mad at him later because he's shirking responsibility. Should really take, even if like maybe change the lens with which he's viewing that responsibility. It's like, oh, they're my friends. Like, yeah, but they need you and they want you to do this. So like,
yeah, stop taking the fucking banner down, you asshole. Yeah.
No.
Stop being nice to people that want to kill you. Stop, like all that stuff. Like,
yeah.
Also, no.
So, White Cloak Camp rescue time.
All right. So anyway, so back to this. How realistic do you find this to be? Sneaking in, sure. Sneaking out.
The part that gets me about the sneaking out is when they go up to get the horses and like he's like, oh, they're guarding them from the outside, not the inside. So they all just take a horse like it's nothing. And I was like, that seems a little like
to be fair,
crazy.
We did
like recently, I don't know how many picket lines there are of horses. Maybe they're like 4 or 5 horses deep. I don't fucking know.
We recently pulled
maybe
this
those
off
guards are pretty far away.
Episode of our Dungeons and we recently pulled this off in an episode of our Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, that's true. We did do that.
We snuck out, not in.
tWoT Quest season 2.
Out but not in.
That's true.
So,
up but not out.
It's fascinating because this is like at least a couple of these are the same fucking people, right? We have Jarrett Byer, all that shit. So this literally happened to these assholes, what, 12, 18 months ago?
I know. I love how the White Cloaks, like they're like guards in a video game. They just like walk up and look at each other for 5 seconds and then they turn around and like walk away. Like they're like, we did the perimeter check. And then like meanwhile, Perrin just walks right in between where they just were and like everything's fine. They're just like, are we really do this in the fucking show? Because it's insane.
It's like in a movie when they show old battle scenes and like everybody met on a field and agreed time. The leaders went out, talked to each other, and were like, are we gonna fight or not? And then they're like, all right, we're fighting. And then they all fought. And I'm like, why don't you just set up a trap?
Yeah,
I would set up a trap every
gentlemanly.
time.
That's not gentlemanly.
There's no honor in attacking a parlay, Tom.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit, Tom. I think the most.
So they get them out barely.
The weirdest part to me is the one where like there's like a officer who meets them as they get like not too far into it, who sees Perrin and starts to choke him out, but instead of doing anything like yelling like trouble or whatever the fuck, proceeds to just silently try to choke him out, and then is just nailed by a piece of firewood by Fail. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, Fael literally says he didn't care after he pushed me down. He didn't think I was a threat, like in any way, shape.
But he's not going to yell. Like you don't yell like.
Yeah, you don't go like intruder alert.
Yeah,
like it's what does a White Cloak yell?
Maybe they were never trained to do that. Like, how did anybody?
He's like, dumb.
They're like, what do we do? What do we do if somebody's in the camp? Like, no one's ever going to get past these sentries. Shut up.
All is well in the light.
And if they do, they're definitely not taking any of our horses. I don't know. It's a little. I mean, I only would say like maybe the description of what's happening is like longer than it actually happens because he's describing like how Perrin's going black, like the vision's going black, and he's losing air and can't fumble for his hammer or whatever because his fingers are numb.
How many Navy SEALs with modern day weapons would it take to murder this entire White Cloak army? Like 3.
3.
2.
They have night vision goggles,
maybe 4.
Like machine guns. Assuming they have enough bullets.
Oh yeah,
I don't think they need the machine guns. Honestly, it sounds like you can just
need to sneak around with knives. I think, yeah,
and then throw on a cloak of somebody who died and just walk up to one by one.
Yeah, the white cloak, just keep trading cloaks because you're gonna get a blood spray all over your white cloak.
Don't
who are you?
Like
all the light, and they're like, oh great.
As long as you don't.
Lifeline of white cloaks, they all is well in the night.
Yeah.
Oh, for the light? Yeah, maybe. But that's not really like an alarm. That's like a battle cry.
Yeah, if I was a White Cloak sitting around the campfire.
One dude with a drone, Tom.
And somebody yelled for the light, I would just be like, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be like, yeah, sounds
keep
good.
going.
That's what we're doing. You got it.
Oh, man, if they had drones, forget it.
I do like how Mistress Luhan throws on a White Cloak and they're all like, yeah, you can pass as a dude. Yeah, good job. Yeah, you can do it.
Which is, by the way, in stark contrast to later on in the hardback version, page 381. The hardest part was getting Mistress Luhan up bareback. It took Perrin and Master Luhan both. She kept trying to push her skirts down to cover her knees. This is some dark stuff. I don't like reading this.
Just rip your skirt. Get on the horse.
Yeah, just instant riding skirts. It's fine.
Bareback.
Oh yeah, I got that part.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
No, I know we ignored that.
You're talking about penis and vagina.
Do you think we didn't? Do you think we didn't get that?
Where's Brother Dan? What was it? Where he was? Shit. What was the name of the segment that he was doing? Ryan helped me when he was on the show last week.
It's they do it. It's called drinking obligations, but they say taishar.
Yeah, there we go. Taishar.
Yeah,
which of course means true blood, which seems a little on point for her. I think she's past that because she's old.
She subs in with the ox or two.
My God.
Damn.
After.
When a white glove comes, he does say for the light instead of oh my God.
For the light and for the skin.
Oh man. This is good. All right. Well, anyway, they get them. They run out. And then I do like that Perrin's like, hey, why don't you guys go quietly that way? Like he can tell that it's an actual alarm and not just an alarm, but like they're whatever signal they're giving is indicative of like they're heading in a certain direction right now and they're going to chase us down kind of thing. It's not just like a general alarm. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't like how Fael was like, were you ever a soldier? He's like, no, I just hung around them a lot and I know how they talk.
I love that his inspiration has been Uno twice at least.
He's like, I just talk like Uno, but without all the cursing. That's my inspiration. Which,
by the way, is not Uno. Like, how fucking dare you? That's
So you might as well just not be sounding like
I talk like a neutered version of this badass character. I don't think so.
And then one of the little boys is like, "What do we do now, Mr. Perrin?"
And isn't like, Uno without all the cursing just silence?
Trollocs. Huh?
That's exactly right.
Uno without all the cursing is just silence.
Yeah,
that's exactly
nothing. Yeah.
It's a stern look.
So Perrin goes to hunt Trollocs, which is pretty awesome.
It is pretty awesome.
I know.
I think that's a badass fucking sentence. I want to finish, and I think that I want to say that all the time. I probably mentioned it last time. My slight irritation with our good friend Mistress Luhan, who has, by the way, had a kind of tough bareback ride here. That the first thing she says upon getting somewhere safe is to chastise Perrin for his beard instead of, we should probably get the fuck out of here. Like the lack of any urgency or emergency.
Yeah, they don't. It's not just her. There's others too. They're all like, "Oh yeah, we did it! Yay!" High fiving and shit. And he's like, "What the fuck are you idiots doing? The white floats are right over there."
It makes sense.
No, it doesn't.
Once you're out of the camp, you're out of the camp. Good to go.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh, no.
I was asking for the throat goat.
Goddamn show. So dumb.
At least visually, that's kind of awesome.
That image is courtesy of Andrew from Black Tower Podcast.
What is the point of that? Also, that's a thing that never happened.
So there's
kill people on a spike in the mouth. Get fucked.
There is that. If you're gonna make up a culture, it's not the worst, right?
It's not the worst.
Oh my god! Between that and Moraine making that fire drive, like what a stupid fucking shit. God damn.
From a culture perspective, do you think that minimizes or increases how they feel about blowjobs? Like for Shinarans, or not Shinarans, excuse me.
Sean-chan?
Yeah, Sean-chan. Jesus Christ, I'm drunk. Do you think that what do you think that a blowjob is something that's sacred or unholy almost?
Well, it's hard to picture a blowjob. I don't think they can do it.
You're allowed to give blowjobs all you want if you've sworn to the throne.
I feel like this is a question that should be asked to Rafe.
It's actually really wildly difficult to picture any Shanshan being sexual in any way whatsoever.
That is true, actually.
Yeah, what are you doing with all those fingernails? Granted, that's the blood.
Well, man, we'll be after that. Like
I mean, even with nails. all of your servants and everything, you're just like, nudity doesn't interest me.
Yeah,
it's such a weirdly like
kind of those Docaville running around naked.
Yeah, there's like these fucking like hot.
They're all just jerking off into horns of Valir.
It's not even like
or
they're.
vases as they
they're-
are made in the show.
I mean, even their honor and morality system, like I don't know, the Isle are pretty strict, but like you can see how they fuck. I can't see how the Shanshan fuck. I don't know how there's more of them.
They don't either. Well, I'll be right back.
oh. So chapter 34.
Well,
Well, he's gone. He who
gonna
comes
die.
with the dawn.
John's gonna die like a pussy.
You
Should have said. Oh wait, you made it. Okay. Yeah, we shift focused around like right when the parent we hunt Trollocs thing happens, which is a lot of fun.
These are,
And then when you get to the end of
exactly-
that, it's really depressing and dark.
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Yeah, it is. The
Book
beginning
four,
of them rallying the two rivers together is fantastic. The dredged on fight where they all barely survive, not so fun.
Thanks,
It's one of my favorite chapters, though. It's fucking terrifying. It's awesome.
Luke Mantiar, a piece of shit. So he who comes with the dawn. Chapter
Yeah.
34.
Rand and Matt climbing the hills outside of Ruidian.
What if they
John?
just kind of like been hot and just kind of gone back into like the
They make it like 100 yards. They keep going back in to get water.
it's hot. Let's go get that fog. Let's get some water.
Jesus
Like, it's
Christ.
just-
You want to go back in? Yeah.
he
Like,
who comes
make that fountain
Yeah.
come up again.
Why don't
he
they
who slacks
come to
with the
us?
dusk. Yeah.
We have the water
Yeah.
and the hotel
That's
rooms.
yeah. Yeah.
Shoot a flare.
Come
There they
hither.
are.
Yeah.
Nobody that makes it to the city and is staying at the Holiday Inn goes back out to the tents.
He was
You
do
come to
the
us.
desert tent. That's so anyway, yeah, they eventually get up there. I enjoy the entire and at some point I will hopefully relearn to write. My
Mm-hmm.
handwriting is so atrocious I can't read it half the time, and I write it so
Oh, you're really bad
So,
at that.
when
You've
I'm
been doing
write-
that for 14 years.
Do you write at any other time?
sober.
No, I mean like I type
Oh,
on my
no.
phone on the computer like at all times. Like I barely have to
No.
write by hand. And when I do it, I'm just like, what the hell is this?
I write by hand a decent amount.
I'm like literally losing the skill as time goes by.
I
My,
find myself just getting lazier, so a lot of my letters just connect and like.
Yeah, it's
I can
not
still read
scripted
it,
intentionally,
But it's gonna get harder. Like if my daughter tried to read it, she'd be like,
I know what
"What's
I, yeah,
that?" I'd be like,
I know
"That's
what
an
I'm
N."
writing.
She'd be like, "No, it's not."
I can read
like-
it, but like it takes like I say like, well, let me tell you the next point, and I'm like, I enjoy the. Well, this isn't really gripping.
What is that word?
Not good.
Rand's worrying
Yeah.
over destroying the Aiel, and Warren and commenting to himself basically in his head how war and destruction are always in his wake. So like destroying them makes sense because that's all he does. And then he's very quickly concerned over Matt because since Matt is quiet, it's a very
Yeah, it's not a
it's
good thing.
indicating that he's in actual pain and not just fucking around. Like he's like, oh fuck, Matt must be really bad if he's being quiet.
I found my note, by the way, or I read it. I enjoy the perspective we get here from Rand, to your point, of why he chose going to the Aiel, and that, you know, he kind of put things together, and even though he was like, he felt he had choices, he's like they weren't greedy, they weren't political, they instead were trustworthy the entire time. Like they kind of were like, this is the guy who will hopefully deliver us from something bad, even though he may deliver us to something bad first. So it's just kind of like, actually, well, other than, you know, one small tribe of them or clan, so it makes sense that, you know, look, he's going to be a piece of shit. He's going to have to just use them, but they were usable as opposed to being like obstacles.
Every prophecy is about him destroying everything, and their prophecy is about him destroying them but saving some.
Yeah, but if they don't accept
bit
him as
going on there.
Garkharn, they all will be destroyed. So like they're like, we have to do this because
Yeah,
like
make it happen.
we have to save our people in some way. My question is like, does destroying the Aiel mean the same thing as like destroying the current Aiel or like the destruction of the Gen Aiel? Because like then maybe that's not such a bad thing. You know what I mean? Like if they just like return to their roots and we're more like the Gen, like is that really destruction, so to speak? It's
Maybe
the destruction of who they are currently as a people.
Yeah, he destroys them
like-
at the end. They keep thinking, I don't know, they carry this on and on and on, but I think he destroyed them
Yeah.
at the end of this book.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's already doing it right now. Like the Shido are splitting off already. I consider the Shido their own thing. Like that's part of the destruction of the Aiel is like a specific clan that's called something becoming like a new thing. Like that's, and they don't refer to themselves as Aiel anymore. They all call themselves the Shido after this. You know, like after the
It's-
Carrain.
Well,
But
man,
I mean, like, well, it's one way to distinguish them from the other Aiel, but at the same time, I think they like take that on almost as a new identity. They start changing very rapidly into like,
Yeah, the second he shows
like
up,
with the way they take
they'll never be the same again.
Guy
So, but
Shine and
that's-
all that shit.
And
I
the
think
ones
it's
that
the
try to
fucking-
hang on to stay the same, like you see that if they try to do that, it just ends in destruction. Like later in Avienda's visions, like you
Yeah.
have to evolve.
I'm fascinated because I think this is a wonderful conversation that probably we should.
I think of Avienda's things as a not this is going to happen, but this is what you should avoid.
This is what you're avoiding, right? This
Yeah,
is
yeah.
what you're avoiding. But I think
Like
that's
make sure
interesting,
you take the right path, kind of thing.
like think about how they start, right? Obviously, they start from this very interesting kernel, which I really don't think is like to a certain extent, like I don't think that's a good thing, really. That all of you should be this. All of you have to be like servants to the servants of all, right? Because by definition, they were all like it's almost something that probably needed to be avoided to a certain extent.
Well, they'll eventually return back to what they were in the beginning, right?
Well, I mean, like in fairness, it's all circular.
Do you think
yeah,
that?
but I mean,
do you
but
think the people that refuse to take off the white are eventually what's going to be left?
no, I don't think so. I think what's going to be left is similar to what Avienda starts, but also not what we've seen in that shitty vision of hers. Like, I think that is something that they avoid. I think they become
For a while. But
Why
eventually
man
it comes.
says the remnant is the Shido. They go back to the threefold land to only live as Aiel and not cross again.
Oh, that's like to a
I
certain
don't
extent,
disagree
think
with that. Although I think the Shido are so beyond like what an Aiel is before they do that I don't think that counts.
I think
they're
I
like
mean,
Eventually they need to become servants to all again, and servants to Aes Sedai, and that's the people that refuse to take off the white, I would imagine, as the wheel comes back around.
So, but to White Man's point, was it White Man?
Not that extreme, but
White Man, yeah.
Yeah. So, like to his point, they become Aiel as we know them so extremely that they just stop being part of this world. Whereas those who are less adherent and also insane and more understanding of their own culture change.
It means they're less than,
or also better. It's an interesting thing because I find it fascinating how much they still, even the clan chiefs and the wise ones, have this disdain for the tWoTcast, right? That's still a thing, as opposed to venerating them and letting them go through without problems. They castigate, but let them go without problems.
well, they also abandon their people.
a lot of
and their
agreeing
duty.
that the Shido are the remnant.
I don't think so.
Still needlessly punishing themselves. Yeah.
So then the Aiel
the remnant of what the Isle used to be, maybe.
Again, we probably should examine this more soberly. I blame Joe.
Well, I mean, it's also something we can continue to talk about as it goes.
Let's do it. Let's actually spend a moment to pretend. Like, well, not today, but let's do it. I don't remember book 14. I don't remember book 14 very well because I've only read it 3 times, which is a weird sentence. I get that. But the last one was like a decade ago. 5 years ago?
I don't remember when I last read 14. It wasn't that long
ago. To quote
ago,
the greatest song of all time, it's been a while.
It's been a while. Cool, and it attacks them without a veil on or anything. He's just like full on.
This guy's such a piece of shit. I love that this man's like tortured logic. Like he might as well be my wife. Like his logic is out the fucking door.
Well, he's like, where's Mirrodin? He went in there before you. He's not out yet. You killed him. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then he chucks spears at them before they can even respond. And then Rand slices 2 with a fire sword. He's like, see, they have weapons. And I'm like, he's
what do you have, asshole?
Channel, bro. Like, granted, Matt's holding a fucking spear, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, clearly he didn't walk down there. Like that's what I'm saying. Is like it's like my wife. Like you can't put 1 and 1 together here. You stupid bitch. I love you so much. And thank you for bringing my drink. Cold snap. Just like her vagina.
You're fantastic. You're on fire tonight.
No, actually, it's quite chilly. I haven't had sex in 3 years. I don't understand why. Consummate gentleman.
Anyway, he claims they brought weapons. He's a lunatic. I mean, it is awesome when he cuts the spears in half with his fucking fire sword.
I love.
When Bear's like, show them the sign, Rand, and he holds up one arm, and they're like, she's like, both signs. Like, my favorite. He's like, oh yeah, here's the dragon, and she's like,
And the other one too.
What if he had pulled up the wrong arm first? Because I want you to know.
Well, I think he just immediately knew, he knew Rourke
This
had
is
one.
what-
And he's
yeah.
he knew
This is what
he knew
Rourke
what
did.
arm to do it to. Yeah,
It'd be
but that
really
would've been
funny though
funny.
if he pulled up the other arm and ends up that's like the gay. Like you got that's the gay
like a
clan
left
chief.
earring in the 90s.
Yeah.
Wait,
I had
is
to
it
look
right?
up which. I had to look up
Is it
which
left or
arm.
right?
It's the right, apparently. I didn't know.
Oh.
Also, why?
I don't know.
But he pulls up just that one arm. They're like, look at him. Like, oh no, quickly this one.
No, the other
because this was written in the 90s.
one. Yeah, that's why. Anyway, yeah. Both arms are marked. She's equal. I like that he notices that Bear's equally relieved and scared at the same time. Yeah, and I'm like, I know we just kind of got into that a little bit, but I do like that part of it. And then he just starts laughing to himself like a lunatic because he's like, twice and twice he shall be marked, and starts laughing. And Matt's like, yeah. What's going on with you, bud?
Has anyone gotten a heron or a dragon tattoo on a penis? That's how you know
In the
you're
world?
going through a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's how you know who's
somebody has
really in
for
love with
sure.
the series.
They must have.
You know what? Fucking DM that dick. Send it to
I have
us.
dragons
The
going up my upper thighs, and the mouth of each dragon goes right around my balls.
I think the only thing stopping people is there's not a lot of visual representation of what that would look like, so they have to invent it or know an artist that could invent it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the only
Like,
thing
I want to
that's
hear
really holding them back.
If they're just like, I want to hair Mark Dick on the sword, and well, what does that look like? And they're like, I don't know.
I'm still digesting.
I gotta wait for the TV show.
So if nothing
twin
else,
dragon
the TV,
cock over here,
the TV
Joe.
show might start giving people
we know sometimes that
are they
Ray-
breathing fire and the fire is your dick, or are they eating your dick?
Their
as a
mouths are
fire
on my balls.
crotch. Yeah. We know
It
that-
would work better with Jono's hair color for sure.
Thank you. We know that Rafe likes
That would
Joe's
be
work,
incredible.
hence why he copied it in book 1 or season 1. So
Yeah.
maybe he's watching now and he's like, "Oh fuck, this is what I'm doing."
My pubes are just sculpted to look like a heron. It's my heron mark blade.
My penis looks like a bird. I don't know what that means. It's got brittle bones.
Once for remembrance lost, once for the price you must pay.
Jay, your
The
penny
price
really
is never
was
having
just like
sex
that.
again.
It's that
What did you say, Tom?
her in that pool with the colors really was very much like your penny.
I know that. Some few people know that. That's all that matters to me, Tom. The recognition I have with 8-ish people in the world.
What about your lawsuit though? Let's do a lawsuit.
I do remember when it came out in the trailer, and I think I tweeted something like, "Hey, that looks familiar," or something like that. And then they cut that scene from the show, and I was like, "Interesting, interesting that's one scene is cut from the show."
Watching the podcast. Twitter, make sure that
Imagine if that's what happened.
I mean,
Amazon's lawyers were like, "You can't do it. You can't do it."
we were followed by Amazon HR briefly.
I mean, would they still follow us? Couladin stands down, even more hate than before. And then, of course, all the Shido just walk off. And a lot of the others don't really accept him either. And he's like, what the fuck? I thought this was the thing that you guys are all waiting for. And Rourke's like, not all change is good. Kind of thing.
I really kind of want to understand more. Now that I'm looking at it now, at least earlier soberly, why is it that the Shido are just such a fucked up just group of people? Top to bottom, they fucking suck. They are just
I don't know. They're like the ones that went in the extreme direction.
Yeah,
they
they're
just
the-
blood feud with
they're the-
everybody and fight
yeah.
everybody and
The
But
war
there's a
part
thing
of the
that comes
culture,
up later on.
all the way.
yeah.
There's, and I don't remember if it's in this chapter or not, but where Rourke tries to say they distrust wetlanders so much because of what happened with the with Lam and Sim, but they weren't one of the 4 clans chosen to go west. And I don't know if maybe that makes that a
There's probably a reason for that.
Yeah, maybe
They wouldn't have stopped. We're done. We got him. And they're just like, what? Just keep going. I don't know. Is Jono frozen? Jono's frozen.
No, he's frozen.
Oh no, not me.
No.
Oh wait,
Oh, we can hear you.
but your,
Oh,
your visual is frozen.
Their
Making up a
specific
theory.
culture
Maybe
is
they were the people who gave
let's kill a motherfucker.
the cutting.
Oh.
To Carriers.
So they're like extra
That's why
wronged by
Again,
the Wetlanders?
made up. Because there
just
has
a
to
lot-
be a reason. They are beyond.
They're the Terrence Ferry of the IEL.
They really don't like, but they don't.
They're
follow
cheats
any-
and liars. And they're
Any of
not
the
very good
codes are-
judges of horse flesh.
Well, I guess if you're insulated in your tribe for that long, like, it just
Yeah,
starts
but
to
is
go
it like
that way.
are they
You
like
probably- you
indoctrinating
probably don't
their
res-
children to be crazy? Like all how does
Yes.
that happen? And a whole I mean, I guess so, yeah. Also, here's
This
the question.
This is
You know,
running a little
Mirrodin
too
went in there
parallel
and
to our
died,
current
right?
reality.
Yeah, but Mirrodin went in there and died, right? And he ripped his eyeballs out and they ate them. We all know that for a fact.
Plucked them.
He ripped them out. He clawed at his face. He didn't just take his eyeball out. He ripped
he
them out.
Ripped his face to make it easier to pluck.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So he tore off his eyelids first,
Yeah.
and then he just
See,
yeah, because you want that like a grape. You want it to be whole when you eat it, right? You
Yeah.
don't want like a mushy.
You don't want this thing like
You don't want like a
fucked up and
soft boiled
smart.
egg.
yeah.
just
You want it to be
just running down your hands.
you want it to be like a blueberry I had to mash for a baby.
All right. Well, hold on. If Mirrodin is, how common do you think that is? Like, how common do you think the Shido are sending somebody in and they're not passing the test because like they can't handle it? Because like they're
He
those
is their
kind of
sec-
psychos.
he is their second guy.
You'd feel like it would be a little high, right? Like their percentage is a little higher than other sets.
Well, it
right?
depends.
Or clans.
How long did the old clan chief live?
I don't
Before
know.
him.
I guess.
But I
yeah.
think Joe's point's question
20,
is a good point, though.
even 20 or 30 years of this indoctrination of this entire clan, like, could lead to the fact that no one could ever pass the test for clan chief again. I guess maybe.
Okay, I get what you're
Oh,
saying.
so
They
maybe
weren't
like
trained-
they've
they weren't-
gotten to the point over this period of time with this current clan chief that
Yeah, like whoever was chief during the was what
Mhm.
20 years ago.
Yeah,
wasn't
let's
it
say
just
he-
Mirrodin's
let's say-
father? Or I don't know. Or
All right, so let's say he makes it that long, but like
yeah.
whatever happened in the Iowa War, like made them go crazier and crazier and crazier to the point where like no one would ever be able to pass again. But it doesn't matter.
So he
'cause
was like
no
a
one-
zealot that just passed it down, and they were a totally normal clan until then, and then all of a sudden, you know,
or he was half zealot and he passed it down, and they became full zealot. They're like, this can't
Yeah.
be right.
oh, Full Zealot Jacket, great show or great movie. Full Metal Zealot. That doesn't make sense either way.
He's probably gonna die
He-
anyway with Savannah and Tharava plotting to make
He-
her a female. Yeah, but I mean, like that's I don't know.
I
mean, before that, I mean, like, The Shadow Clan chiefs keep hitting the columns like bugs on a windshield.
could you imagine if you were just like, man, I'm a stone cold fucking killer. I wonder how we got to this place. And then you see your history and like how you went from like a normal guy to like a murderer, and you're just like,
Mhm.
excellent evolution. But instead of thinking that, you're just like, I just assumed I was killing people when I was a baby.
The whole time.
Are you telling me I used to like coloring books? This is nonsense. I'm gonna kill myself.
I don't think it's
It's a
killing. I mean, I don't
fascinating
think Mirrodin even knew what he was doing. I mean, like, I think that's just like he's, you know, how like Rand took steps obviously because he was catching up to Mirrodin like while the visions were happening. Because
So what if
he'd take like
what-
one step and he'd move forward like 10. So like
What if
obviously
you went
shit is
backwards?
happening while they're watching the visions.
What if you went backwards through our ancestors' eyes and you got to one ancestor that like took a sip of whiskey and was like, "Ooh, gross," spit it out.
I'd probably rip out my
Rip.
stomach,
It's done.
liver.
It's done.
That's so gross.
This piece of shit. I disavow everything about my ancestry,
Including my
I
own life.
All of Ireland. It goes back to the birth of Ireland. We'll never drink England.
And you can't make us. Like, what? and we won't fight you to stop it. Like, you're not gonna drink and fight.
It's a great theory while I take a drink.
Where were we?
I mean, basically, Lan's looking pissed off because Moraine's not back yet, and then he's like, and then Egwene's like, "What happened to you, Muradin?" And he's like, "No." And then before he can even answer, Bear's like, "It's forbidden." Like, don't talk about what happened down there. And meanwhile, she's kind of like, "But seriously, what happened? It's a little weird that you're covered in cuts."
I love
literally
the
the
fact that, like,
exact
he
same
comes
scene
in-
as Ed Norton showing up at his boss's office asking him what happened to him.
Just beat the crap out of himself, throw himself into a glass table.
He gets 2 years of pay.
Not allowed to talk about Fight Club.
I like how she's like, "Where's Moraine?" Or Rand's like, "Where's Moraine?" And they're like, "She's still in there." And he's like, "She's in there." What?
Is Fight Club a classic or is it just a product of the time?
Classic.
I don't know. I think it's pretty classic.
Classic?
It starts off with the term
Classic
bitch
cult
tits.
following?
Like that's a classic.
Okay.
I think it is.
Yeah, it's a classic.
You should put up a poll and see if people think Helena Bonham Carter was hot in that movie or not.
She's sexy without being hot.
I think she's pretty hot. Well, that's what I mean.
I mean,
She's incredibly sexy in that movie.
Is
the weirdest part though was when she was
Bonham
killed
Carter
by Weasley.
You know, in Practical Jokers, when they do the fake receptionist calling out fake names bit, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but they do one where one of the fake. There's one where they do, they're calling out the fake names, and one of the fake names is Helena Bottom Farter, and I'm just like, how's nobody ever thought of that before?
How's no one thought of this before?
I mean,
Anyway.
it's right there.
What's top?
I love how at the end of the day, Avienda comes back out, and then Moraine does as well. But like, when Avienda walks up to them and she's naked, Matt just goes, "Told you it was her. Nailed it." Like, he's not like even concerned at all. He's just like, "Knew it."
I'll be
called it."
honest. Matt Cawthon is on fire in this chapter. If you look
I know,
at
he
all
really
his
is,
dumb
yeah.
jokes, like they're not even jokes. Like, he's legitimately serious. Like, the amount of things that he's going on. Like, again, like, I recognize that ass. It ran past us. Like, that kind of thing. Like, later on, there's something about like whether or not like, what are you gonna eat? So what do you do later? And
Oh
Rand's
yeah,
like,
he goes, "What are you gonna do now?" And he's like, "Politically, all these moves." And he's like, "No, for dinner." The fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? I don't
Speaking of the
care. I
fish,
don't care
man.
what you're doing next.
As
I'm
good as
hungry.
lasagna. This is
as good as Matt is on his own, playing off Rand, like he's
I know,
never
playing off Rand is the best. Yeah.
It's like the dumbest blank canvas possible. Like, it's fucking perfect.
playing off Rand or Egwene, like he's never better.
I also love how he looks. Like, Rand from his perspective is always the best, because like Rand's like, might as well already be like fully insane.
Yeah.
Because Rand will be like, "That's a funny joke, because I'm fucked in this situation," and Matt's like, "Holy shit, he's lost it already." Oh, fuck.
Now I'm reaping all the benefits.
Yeah, and I'm reaping
John
all the
Lovitz?
benefits. Oh man. Anyway.
Actually, Adam Sandler singing "Somebody Kill Me Please" and "The Wedding Singer" is literally Rand's character for 14 books.
I love how the
I
poll
like-
has nothing to do with what. Why would it?
I love it. This is the thing that's got me fucking killing. Is
I mean, I could leave it going, but we already have, like, it's pretty definitive.
Well, all right.
Everyone thinks she's hot. It was
Let's get back to the point here.
it was 80. It was like 80 to 10.
That's bad.
80
That
to
adds up to
10,
100. That adds up to 100.
I don't know if it does, Joe.
So
I
I do think
study
it's
my
very
math.
interesting about when Rand's asking Rourke about like what you guys saw, which we don't talk about Yule Club until Rand says yes we do. Is no two have seen the same thing until the sharing of water, which actually is massively like it makes a lot of sense, right? Before the or after the sharing of water, there's so many different disparate things going on, but at that point, like there's very much a shared trunk, and of course before that,
Shared
half
trunk?
of them are, like, of like society, like they're the same, like 100 or 200 people.
Okay.
I fucking love everything to do with like those chapters and what all they did. I think that there's no better way to fucking tell a story than what the fuck he did here. It's obvious and it's so fucking brilliant. And
yeah, no, I love it. Yeah.
like the fact that like it comes back to it and just like, yeah, none of us get it until right here. This is when we all have the same common like ancestry. It's fucking fascinating. Love it.
Rand does
pretty
have
cool.
an Ed Norton, Brad Pitt kind of Fight Club thing going on too.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Interspaceless Theron is also telling him to start up a soap company.
Yeah. His
Which
parent
is not Alice in Wonderland.
Meatloaf.
Jesus Christ.
It's-
Yeah.
Wait, Meatloaf from Fight Club or Meatloaf from Wayne's World?
Yeah, Robert Paulson
Meatloaf
his
just
name.
from the world,
from the world.
just in general.
Just glam rock.
I don't
Wait,
think
which one's
he's-
Rand? Ed Norton, or I guess he's Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Is Luz Theron Brad Pitt?
I guess. I mean, it doesn't work.
We've lost our.
I mean, I feel like this
That's
episode
who,
was
Jared Leto.
just
Gets
because
his
we.
face beaten in.
That's all I could think. I don't know who else. Those are the only two people that I know that in the entourage that are famous.
Rand is weary of the wise one's plans to guide him as well, immediately realizing what they're doing, and he's like, I'd like to keep Matt and Landon work.
He's not
with me. Thank you
weary.
very
He's
much."
wary.
He's wary. That's what I said.
Oh,
Or wary. You said
He's
weary.
Wario.
He's not tired.
he's Tyrio.
He's suspicious.
He's suspicious. Tom.
Don't be
Is that
suspicious.
weird? Don't
It's
be
interesting 'cause, like,
suspicious.
When we look back at this relationship, like he's technically on Ruark for like a couple weeks at most, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. And this is his second time meeting the wise ones, right? Like he met them when he fucking landed, and then he immediately went to Rodian.
Mhm.
But it just seems like a well-trod relationship already. And I don't know if that's a product of me having read
Yeah,
this
it's
book
probably-
far too many times.
For him, it's a product of Moraine, probably. Like,
Yeah, like it just feels like
understand.
this is like de rigueur. He's already done it, whatever the fuck. And I don't hate that, actually. I think that it actually makes a lot of sense. Like, I think that it's like they aren't, like, he knows, like, they're not trying to manipulate him in a negative way so much as
No, he just doesn't like. I think it's just he's overly resistant because of Moraine and everybody else around him all the time.
typical.
I mean, he immediately goes like, she's like, "You don't talk about Rodian," and he's like, well, "Expect change, bitch." Like he doesn't even give them a second. He's just
that
like,
might
it's
as well have been what he says. Like he wrote it down on a piece of paper and flew it into her face. Expect change. It's very aggressive.
It's like a blank
Yeah.
check to have a prophecy that's just like, well, I'm just not going to do things the way other people usually do them or say they'll do them. You just
Imagine if
constantly
he
be like,
wasn't.
oh, we don't do it that way. And like, well, that's not what the prophecy says. And do it
Imagine if
my
he
way.
wasn't the Karkarn. Like he actually just kind of like walked up, like killed him, and then walked and there's like, just do what I say. It's fine. Because like he just drives every fucking change that they don't want to talk about this in front of people. I will. Don't want to talk about this in front of. I will.
I mean, I
Don't
do like
feel-
how he's like, I mean, he's not just like, fuck you. He does say like, you don't understand. I don't have time. I need to answer this as fast as possible. Like 9 Forsaken still walk the earth, like kind of thing. Like he does like
That's
reason
badass.
with them and reveal like why he's doing it. He's not just like, I'm an asshole. He just goes like,
It is,
listen, you don't understand the stakes we're at right now. Like, and at any moment we could be fucked beyond belief. Like, I need to
That's-
figure out everything as fast as I can.
that frustrated when you said 9 still walk the earth, because I remember counting them off like as they would die, like during the books, and then they just started coming back, and I'm like, well, this isn't fair.
Yeah,
I don't
Not at all.
enjoy this.
7. 12 again. What?
I want to know how many you
12.
can kill and how many are going to be left at the end.
It's
And
not
instead,
12,
it's
I
just like, here they come, here they come, here they come.
Yeah, I was kind of enjoying like what it
I mean,
meant.
it's not quite like they're
It would have been very Harry
vampires.
Potterish to be like, and the next villain is Mo Gideon, and like, I mean, I guess it would have been pretty
Book
boring.
5 presents.
Yeah, yeah.
But I used to do the same thing.
I guess
I had my map, and I'd be like, "This is where Rand has conquered. This is where Rand has influence. Here's
Yeah.
who's left." That kind of thing. Like
This was still
That was-
around that time where you're like, oh, he's like gathering, like, well, maybe closer to book 5 and 6.
gather
but, like,
round.
Yeah,
I guess
you were just like, oh, he's got Karian now. Oh, like, shit, like this is amazing. Like kind of thing.
It wouldn't
Yeah,
be
like,
much of a
I don't know.
dark one if you couldn't bring back, if you're the master of death, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, and he's also, but well, I mean, just to what Jono was saying, like it was like a risk board in my brain. I was just like, oh, how much more of
Yeah,
the world
that's
can he
exactly
conquer
right.
before the last battle? Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
They got
But then
very
you realize
motivated.
he doesn't need to conquer everybody, Jono. He just needs them all to fight for the light.
He just needs to chill the
good.
fuck out.
He
Yeah,
just
he's-
needs to get
Use
a good ally.
smoke
He
some,
can trust
smoke
and
some
just
pot,
go
use the
play.
power. Let's go.
Shit. So now he's actually mentions the one thing about tell me about my parents, which is again, desperately sad.
It is pretty
and
sad. Also, I don't
again-
remember this story about his father. Like, I totally forgot about that.
which
I guess I
story?
forget about it every time I read it, but like, I just never. It doesn't stick in my brain. Like, it's not something like I'm like, oh yeah, his daddy died. Whatever. Moving on. So like every time I read this, I'm like, oh, that's sad. It's probably the first of those weird Aiel with the red veils and the teeth.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so funny because well, I guess we'll start beginning to end. I don't know if you want to tackle it, Joe, but Shail, of
okay.
course, means
Well, I mean, about the father part or the mother? Your father was one of the youngest clan chiefs. He ended blood feuds. He almost ended.
I wanted the mother. I would say the father if we talk about credit cards first.
The father. He couldn't forgive himself. Went north when he couldn't forgive himself for not sending his wife back, like when she was pregnant with Rand, even though she was supposed to. And they kind of like describe it as like he can never say no to her. So she stayed even well beyond like any Aiel maiden would have stayed, like still wielding spears while pregnant, kind of thing. And then when she died or something got lost and lost the baby, and they don't know what happened to the baby, that like drove him to be like, I'm going to go into the Blight and fight and die because I don't have anything left.
He probably
And
just
who's he died to?
Slayer.
Luke Mantiar. Thanks for your last appearance because it looks a lot like Tigraine or Shail.
Yeah.
Again, everything. It's a fucking weird thing how important like those viewings were.
I think
Like,
that's
they
just
open
depression.
and close perfectly. What's that, Tom?
I think that was a depression and suicide, not honor.
Yeah,
Same
I
thing.
kind of agree. Imagine if Rorik went with the Aiel casualness with sex and nudity and just started describing the night Rand was conceived.
Fuck yes.
He probably did. Just wasn't.
Are you still weird about your parents having sex if you've never met your parents?
I guess not.
Ooh.
They're just random people to you. Just like
just fine. Weird.
it's not like you're the vision of them having sex is in your brain. You're just like, oh yeah.
Well,
I
you're
guess
just like,
wanted
yeah,
to
I
help
don't
out.
think about that. But if you never met them, you're just like, yeah.
Oh, that type of
Fuck
weird.
to
Sorry.
make me a baby.
Oh, Light Blinded Fool actually brought up a good point here, but not intimacy. Right? No, that's true.
In fairness, yeah, he's right. Like a kiss
Yeah.
is fucking weird, but like, you
Living
can
shortly.
spit on a vagina from like 3 feet away.
I do wish there was more like that came from
Don't want
the
that.
penis that's shooting on the vagina that Jono was just mentioning. I feel like I wish there was more from like the Slayer, Rand, Luke, like his father connection. Like the father thing could have been cool to bring back, and I guess you don't. Rand's fighting the Dark One at that point, though.
I don't think
No, but
there was
was
enough
it last
time for
episode
them
we
to
talked
figure
about
that
it?
out.
Yeah.
Was it last episode we mentioned this? And I may have been drunk, or 2 episodes ago.
I think it was
May have been
2
drunk.
ago.
I may have been drunk.
I think it was
I think
2
it's
ago.
a weird. I can't tell if it's a missed opportunity or like what's the point of putting it in there? Because again, it's his Rand's uncle, it's Land's uncle.
Yeah.
It's extremely personal, and yet neither of those people that it should be literally personal to interact with him.
Yeah, they never know, and it's parents' nemesis. It's odd.
Yeah, it's the I don't know if that's the right guy or the wrong guy. Like it makes sense given the the World of Dreams layover and the wolves, but like it's just very strange that this is where the fuck they go.
I guess it makes sense in the fact that you don't want parents' nemesis to be some random douche.
Yeah. Who is that?
He has ties to everybody, but like
Wolf fucker. Like that
they're
doesn't
not
make
really.
sense.
They're not super explored.
But I don't know. Like it's just a strange thing considering how personal everything about Lan is with the Blight. From
I mean, it makes him a very cool character. Without it, he's just kind of so like interesting. But, like, it's not the same level of interest to a reader, I think.
But I don't know. Like, but think about the fact that
that's a good point. It's probably more of a connection. Oh, see you, Thomas.
Oh, good night. Oh, Tom, hold on.
Glad I waited.
He is glad he waited. Pretty sure he's glad he waited.
But I think it's a very interesting thing of like in book one, like we have all these fucking things put together, all these interests, all that. Never. It's so I don't know. I don't know if it's a missed opportunity or like dodging the bullet in a brilliant way. I really don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna say like maybe the connection's more there for us and less for like Rand to eventually like bear out.
Like other than like,
I mean, it just makes it cool for us, like as the readers, to be like, oh, he's cool. Slayer's connected to all these people, like Tom was saying. Like that makes sense to me.
But if you don't read it critically, and let me know, like I personally don't read most of the shit critically. Do you get anything out of like learning that? Like, aha, it's his uncle.
It makes Slayer more interesting, just period.
But
that's all. Just knowing that he's a combination of these two people that are connected to the heroes. Like that's period. Like there's no.
To me, it's just like a fascinating thing of like how much I loved the fact that he put this together in book 2 was perfect, right? That's on the fucking wall. And then it's here in book 4, and that's cool, but it doesn't have quite the payoff that I want.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm also.
I mean, I don't. There's a lot of stuff that doesn't pay off like the way we want it to. I guess
Thanks, Brandon. But this is a Robert Jordan one. There's a very few Robert Jordan ones that don't pay off.
Rand's this chapter wraps up with Rand sitting outside with Matt, waiting for Abby and Moraine to come back, and they do come back that night. And Rand's thankful? Question mark?
3
but
days.
Like also just like he saved 3 days. He's more thankful that he saved 3 days and doesn't have to wait. Which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah,
but also like Matt does that awesome joke about food. Chapter 35, Sharp Lessons. I don't really care about this chapter all that much. Mixed with all the parent stuff and the Rand stuff, I'm like, Egwene fucking around and tell Ranriad, I do not care about all that much.
Titties, breasts.
Oh yeah, there's like some sweat tent. There's some,
Elaine is wearing the
Elaine's topless.
Yep, she's topless.
Avienda comes back naked. Moraine comes back naked.
Yeah,
there's a lot of nudity.
Let's see, hold on. Goddamn, whoever wrote this is terrible at writing. So Elaine, I do appreciate this. One of the things that I do like about Elaine, at least in this part, she gets worse later on, but in this part, she's
horrible.
Asking, Egwene about certain things, and Egwene's just, explaining, and Elaine's like, I understand why Rand is such a hard man, if you know what I mean. Like he is a king. Like there's no way about it. Like he is using people because he fucking has to. Moving 10,000 people to save 100,000. I'm sorry, that's what you fucking have to do. Mm-hmm. Obviously, there are quibbles about how you do that and that kind of thing. They're very legitimate. But Egwene really accepts it, but refuses to accept it because that's not how she was brought up. I think Elaine is uniquely, at least starting off, is uniquely capable of understanding Rand.
Also, she's that makes royalty. Like she grew up like knowing her.
Like I said, uniquely capable. Yeah, she.
Yeah, why does? But Egwene tells her about Rand's parents. She didn't put that together.
Now that's an interesting thing. Well, hold on. Maybe Egwene doesn't know. But Egwene doesn't know. Egwene only knows that Shael came from the west. She doesn't know Shael was Tigraine because Tigraine never told them. Tigraine never told the Aiel.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But otherwise, like, yeah. And then
I guess there's still like one layer of disconnect there. But it would be really weird if like Elaine was like, "Oh, really?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
I gotta mention that.
I gotta get some Plan B tea. I'll be right back. It's more like Plan C. We're pretty far down the fucking
We're pretty far down the road.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
It's been 7 nights. At least
7 nights plus 2 days to get there, plus however long till they had their first. It doesn't matter. We're not going to do it here in the Two Rivers. I'll tell you that. That's not allowed.
Elaine would get more turned on thinking Rand is related to her. Probably.
Why, man?
She's like, gotta keep it. We can't have any of those mudbloods in there.
Gotta
Alright.
keep it pure.
I'm now all in favor of this. This is not wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Where were we? Fucking A.
They start talking about who can, like, the wise
Third-
ones can channel, and she just immediately goes like,
Idiot.
she goes, "Hey, the Seafolk can channel too. I felt the same kinship." Oh shit! I promised her I wouldn't tell anybody, and I immediately told somebody. And then she's like, "Well, Queen, you don't matter. You're not going to be a mural and seat or anything soon.
Yeah.
Like,
You're not gonna just.
maybe just promise me you won't take advantage of them later." She's
You're
like,
not gonna
"I
lord this over
promise."
everyone.
Yeah.
I actually have this starred little thing. Is like I love the fact that realistically, the reason that the Aiel and Seafolk find all their potential channelers is that the wise ones, the wave mistresses, they're part of society, and they are benevolent, or at least maybe not benevolent, but they are like trying their best to be for the good of that society. Whereas the Aes Sedai are literally ivory tower people that are pretty like open about like trying to manipulate. Like it's not really they are not that type of like benevolence, to go back to that word I
They're
try
not.
to avoid.
Yeah. The wise
And
ones
that's
find every girl
why-
that can channel because they don't want any of them to come to harm, or like, they. She's like, it's incredible. They find every single girl that has the spark, and you're like,
No,
Doesn't-
seems pretty
why don't
easy.
the Aes Sedai do that? Yeah, that seems
Yeah.
pretty standard, pretty easy to do.
Yeah. We just go out. We actually go out in the world, not just like 1% of
Yeah,
us
they're
or
all
2%.
they're all divided up. It's not like the wise ones all hang out in one place. Like you don't go, like they're all in their own septs and clans.
And yes, the Westlands, whatever the fuck you want to call that part of the continent, is perhaps larger than
Yeah.
but also I don't know if it's that much larger, such that because there's more. I think that the tower has
Again,
fewer
if
people-
there was more common knowledge passed down to even the smallest town, they could go to the closest place that, to be tested or whatever, if they were showing any of the signs and if they just knew what the signs were. But like, girls like Egwene are almost dying or whatever from whatever fever
quarter of them
she
are
had.
dying.
Yeah.
More than a quarter. 3/4 are dying. Yeah, but anyway, no. What the Aes Sedai is, I think the point is that it's fascinating to me that the Aes Sedai have such like authority and importance to the other groups of female channelers when realistically they're the worst of all three, right? Between the Windfinders and the Wise Ones and the Aes Sedai, they live less because of their own vows. They are appreciated less, ironically, because of their own vows and how they do it. They kind of suck, the Aes Sedai. They survive on
for
it.
sure. I mean,
yeah.
and we know that Ishmael is a big part of that, but like, how
True.
much really though?
Well, I mean, it's a great question. That's another thing. Like, I would love to get this like, series, if you will. Next time we fucking need some shows, like weird things that are extremely important. That would be one. And another one would be, of course,
Fucking sit in your tower.
you
Rivers
fucking
to
sit in your
travel,
tower.
nice roads, water and food everywhere. Meanwhile, in a harsh desert. I mean, that's a great statement. Like
It's exactly right.
Like they find everybody. Yeah.
Also,
Oliver said,
appreciated
"What would an
the,
Aes Sedai testing office look like?" Probably like a line at the DMV. I don't know. Would it be that bad? I feel like it would just be like, I don't know. If the way that Egwene involves even people that can't channel, like, what's it called? The what is it called? Not the women's circle.
Mudbloods.
The knitters or whatever.
Oh, the kin?
The knitting circle?
Yeah, the knitting
it called?
circle and the kin. They can channel though.
Yeah, they
All of
can,
them
yeah.
channel.
No, not all of them. Don't a lot of them don't?
No, all of them.
Or don't
channel,
they
just not-
involve people that
some of them
don't?
just can't travel. Some of them are too weak, but they all can channel.
Oh, what am I thinking of then?
Maybe mudbloods
Yeah, mudbloods, I guess.
or squibs. At this point, maybe squibs. Sorry, apologies to the mudbloods. You guys were wrong, but squibs.
I don't know. I'm just like, you could involve like local women like Nynaeve, not Nynaeve because she can channel, but you know what I mean, like a wise one
a wisdom or something like that in a village could know what to look for and then send the girl to like whatever closest city, or it doesn't have to be that far down, you know, if you just involved women that were
No, I get
in
what
the
you're saying.
same line of work, so to speak.
Literally have a fucking hierarchy where it's not just all
Yeah.
people are here and therefore, and if you don't make it, then, you know, go fuck off. Because like, they inadvertently created the kin, right? The knitting circle, all that shit, like they inadvertently created. Like, why, you know, had they done the same thing again, intentionally in this case, for all the major towns, all the major regions, you know, that kind of thing, like their numbers would be massive, and of course, people wouldn't just be dying randomly of channeling sickness.
Yeah, they're complaining about their numbers being small, and they found Egwene and Nynaeve. Moraine found them.
Yeah,
but news of them made them go like, "Oh, let's send Aes Sedai to that tiny little place in the middle." Wouldn't you go, "Oh shit, let's send Aes Sedai to all the little towns in the world, and like maybe we'll get a lot more than just Egwene and Nynaeve."
You know what? Have you?
There's other small towns that are like the Two Rivers. That's all I'm saying. Like, it's not just there, you know. Anyway,
I the answer has to be yes, because otherwise they would have been found immediately with the ancient blood raised amongst the old blood.
mm-hmm.
You would have thought that would have been much quicker, but they fucked it up.
Anyway, they discussed
Where
Rand
are
a little
we?
bit. I do like they're talking about the sea folk. And she's like, I think they're going to follow Rand right away. They all think he's the Cormor. And Egwene says something like, well, not the Aiel. Half of them don't believe it, and we don't know what's going on, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And there's this dude, Couladin, that just wants to kill him. And she's like, I do like how Elaine just like fiercely goes, you're not going to let that happen, though. Right? You know, like kind of like the way, like I do like the Elaine's like fierce defensiveness when it comes to
I think I still don't have a problem with her yet. There are some like frustrations.
there's peaks. There's little peaks of into,
but she's not there yet.
But she's not there.
Also,
yet, right.
I love the fascinating.
She's still the Elaine that was like putting out fires between Nynaeve and Egwene, acting like children. Right
She's
now,
not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the juxtaposition though of like, well, the Aiel, not sure about all of them. Which, by the way, other than the Aiel in question and the people who you know, the breaking pretty much just like fuck off and leave.
Mhm.
The Aiel are 100% devoted, whereas the leadership of the Sea Folk, not so much. We find out
yeah.
because
Well,
they
I mean,
believe
she
in the
does
bargain.
what
It's
she
not in a
understands.
negative way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a very funny dichotomy or juxtaposition, really, when you think about how.
Real quick, I know this is going back to the beginning of this fucking chapter, but it's just the note about them meeting in the heart of the stone. Every reread I read, I'm just like, I can't get over the point in a reread where like I think like how long they sit here and talk and use it as a meeting place while like the Black Aja or like the Forsaken are just like watching them and listening to everything that they're doing, and like I can't break my brain of that. So like every time it starts again and like this is the first time, for instance, I'm just like, fucking, and they always feel like they're being watched there, and I'm like, and Elaine, tosses it off because she felt like because she was topless that she felt exposed, and I was like, that's not why.
Well, but it's also there are also like people feel that wherever they go.
Oh yeah, that's true. But like that's the point though. Like they don't know what they're doing. Maybe meet somewhere else. Like less, I don't know, common?
It is
Or
interesting
grand and
to think.
open. Like if you met in a small room in a farmhouse in the Two Rivers every time, just as easily as the Heart of the Stone, like the chances of you being eavesdropped on are a lot.
You mean the room
smaller.
that has literally 10,000 fucking places to hide?
Yes, exactly.
Either meet in the tiniest room possible or a giant open bowl like Al-Qadal. Like where like
Elaine doesn't become insufferable until she gets pregnant and totally changes her personality. I think it's before that. I would argue that.
Christian Rapper. I think
I will bring up many instances of why I think that's not accurate, but we'll
I wish that were true because I really like Elaine the first few books, but she starts to change pretty soon. Well, he's just jerking off.
He's in. Don't worry about him.
He's just a creepy uncle. That's his title. He's got to follow it up.
And then Elaine asks her about Kalendor.
Why did you do that? Is it perhaps because of a letter I wrote? And she's like, letter? And she's like, I wrote him 2 letters. This miscommunication here like infuriates me because like she's like,
It should
can
be
you tell
funny.
Rand that I meant like, and that's it. But then Egwene just goes, oh, she was gonna say meant everything she said in her letters to him, kind of thing.
It should
Which is
be
logical,
funny.
but it's also one of those things. It's like she didn't say that. Why don't you just like wait and go back and be like, hey, what were you trying to say last time when I got ripped out of Tel'Rand? Like, why don't you wait to give the message you only heard half of? I don't know.
Like, but it happened too with I like that, like the 2-letter thing had the thing like when we were talking earlier on when she and Nynaeve had just gotten on the deck of whatever the fuck that way Raker is when they leave Tyr, and like the earthquake happens, that kind of thing, and it's just him driving the sword into.
You mean the wave
stone.
dancer?
Yes, it is Wave Dancer.
Go
Again,
makes her crank.
you should probably just please leave 1 letter. Please be consistent. Like, I get the fact that you have real emotions, but you know what? This is the Dragon Reborn. Let's not crazy him out too much. It's not your fault. You've got these feelings.
Well, that's another thing. Like, Egwene infuriates me, and not in this so much, like with what they're doing, but like in her mental thoughts of what she's thinking about. Like when Rand says something, she's like, God damn it, Rand, you're such a child. And I'm like, just dial it back. You got and she constantly reminds herself that I gotta remember he's the Dragon Reborn, kind of thing. And I'm just like, that should be your first thought, and then maybe the crazy thought would happen.
I don't know if it should be her first, because to a certain extent, like that's a very kind thing that you still think of him as the guy from the simpleton from your village. But at the same time, like, good Lord, get a little fucking proprioception for what the fuck's happening here. Like, get some, just, take a moment. No endangered birds.
That's
good. There's one endangered bird. Tom.
I think it's good.
Oh, wait. Are the endangered
String
birds
literally
gone?
wrote. Anyway. Amis rips her out of there real fast and is like, you fucking idiot. I told you not to do that. And she's like, but I have to meet my friends. She really is acting like a little child. Like when Amis is like, well, you're going to have braided hair and I might even put a little skirt on you because that's what little girls wear around here. And it was just one of those things where I was like, she kind of deserves that. She's acting very childish.
It was I agree completely with Amy. The only thing that I thought was weird is when she was touching her pussy while saying that. I thought
it was weird because she turned her upside down and her shift fell down, and she was like, "Now you're naked.
Well, now you're gonna pretend like you're a little
bite your throat out with a giant serpent head or whatever the fuck she turns into."
Hey, yeah, it's true too. The whole thing.
I do love how when they're outside of Tel'Rand for real, and Egwene's like, doesn't even ask, is that really you? She finds that she's still shielded and is just losing her shit because it's just like, trauma from the Shan-Chan. And she's just like, fuck! And like goes for a knife and she's like, what are you going to cut me? Put that away. But I mean, like, it's fucked up how much trauma she's still, I mean, of course she has trauma from that. But like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going through her head? She's not rational anymore. She's just like, I'm gonna murder her niece. I'm shielded, like kind of thing. And you're like, holy shit, that went crazy real fast.
She's a good friend to Nynaeve and doesn't do anything similar or way worse in the next book.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where are we?
Amy says, I didn't know I said I could lie, which I thought was an interesting fuck up on her part.
Seems
like she said, you told me that you wouldn't go in there without me. And I didn't know I said I could lie. And I was like, fuck, you idiot.
Well, you know what? They can't. They cannot. And you have found the answer.
And I am not one. Yeah. Put those two pieces together. They can't lie. And I told you one other thing. That was an obvious lie. Anyway.
So, upshot here is Amis agrees to actually meet with Nynaeve with Egwene. Or Nynaeve and Elaine at this point. I don't know if that's great. I guess it is for them, but it's also kind of like some of the most annoying things about.
Yes, they can.
The ones that lie about me. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. Yeah. It is interesting. The ones who can lie, they're actually very good at lying. That's kind of it for this chapter, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I mean, like they meet at the sweat tent. Other than them giving
Oh shit, they
Avienda
go to the
her
sweat tent. I
task.
apologize.
Yeah.
I misread it as sweet tent, and I don't know what that meant.
Sweet tent. That's out
Yeah.
there.
That's what I call popping up.
Glenn said show ideas. Do paired pro con episodes on the main characters. One video, find everything good about them. Next, everything bad. Interesting.
So I'm fascinated.
We did a
as
version of that
voice.
you came up with, Jono, called twat69. But we could do it for like, but that was characters we liked at the beginning and hated later, or vice versa. But like, I could find so many things I hate about like Parent or Matt or Rand, but I still love them,
all
you
of
know what I
them.
mean? So like,
Fucking
yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
I definitely should have written down the second character, but I really like this idea of like fascinating pieces of like historical divides. Guitar is definitely like number one talking point for me, because I think that it's recent and it's got many things, and I don't know if people really explain. I really appreciate what the fuck that it happened. The entire Slayer persona and what the like, all of that is her. Also, that whole Rand guy, not necessarily her,
that Rand guy.
but would he have existed? I don't know. It's very interesting.
I mean, Rand had that same exact thought. He's like, "Would I have
Well, his
existed
thought went
or
back to
two
the
been born on
watering,
Dragonmount?"
like-
You know, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Anyway,
if Rand was born not on Dragonmount, would he have not been the Dragon Reborn in that timeline?
he wasn't born where he died, so no, fuck him.
No. Interesting.
Got to have the right fucking. That's why we.
It's
got
one of those
30,000.
Flickr worlds where he was just a normal guy.
Just me. You're 6'6"
Just
ginger.
lived the whole year or the whole time in all his years in Two Rivers. No one was trying to hold Rand with the rules. Well, perhaps he was different. And then I wrote, perhaps that was just Egwene's fucking dumb thought on Rand.
Oh yeah, just a little bit.
They meet in the sweat tents and they discuss Rand, and they tell Avienda her new job of like, you're gonna be there when he wakes up, and you're gonna be there when he goes to bed, and you're gonna be there the next morning when he wakes up. And she's like, I hate him. And she's like, whoa, hate? Jeez.
Joe, do it for Elaine.
Yeah.
You know.
I do. I love the wise ones, dude. Like they're like the anti Aes Sedai to me. Like they're the cool,
Wrong.
older, like wise people that are complete assholes at times, but are super logical and know exactly what they're doing.
They're the proto Aes Sedai. They're what the Aes Sedai should.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, when
It
Avienda
can't
is
be
like, I
local.
will not, she's like, will not. Like, I don't remember if Bear Merlane is just like, what the fuck?
It's
You do what
literally
we
the-
tell you to do. Even when Egwene's like, do it for me or do it for Elaine. You love Elaine. And she's like, no, you'll do it because we fucking told you you're going to do it.
Fuck
What
you.
the hell is this?
if I should have
Yeah.
changed my name to like a sphincter says not, because they're sitting there like, I will not. No, I don't think
No,
that
they're
makes sense.
Yoda. No, yeah.
Like you're just fucking doing
They are Yoda.
it. Yeah, again, they're incredible. Like they are. It's hard to believe or hard to remember.
The
fact
wise
that
ones are buttholes also. Are they? I don't know.
They become buttholes. Like they become a little frustrating. But
The
their
wise ones are cool.
buttholeness.
I wouldn't want to serve it under them. That's true.
Well, hold on. It depends what you're into. Like, no, let's like some of them are a little older, but Mullane apparently, like Matt thought she was cute.
Yeah.
So
Next
guy,
chapter, 36. We're actually we can squeeze it in, right? We can get it in
this
there.
is missed erections.
That's this is in tWoTcast history. This is when Lauren we used to sit in the room and just drink while we were recording because we were drinking with her beforehand and afterwards.
Who's
And she
Lauren?
said that joke.
"Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, damn. She would only like speak up every like 30-ish minutes and say like
Good
one
job
word,
from
and
your
then-
wife.
And I was just like, good job.
If only
Good
she
job,
was
baby.
like that now." Too many fucking.
Oh man.
Anyway, Mr.
Rand. Okay, so I mean, we're basically like this. It's a little bit from Rand because he's like Avienda's right next to me. That's weird. Where is that coming from? But then there's a little chunk with Matt at the end too. So I mean, like, you know, we want to talk about Rand.
Yeah, we'll start with Rand.
So they're moving the camps towards the Aiel camps towards Al-Kardal. And I think what I love about this part with Couladin the Shido is that by coming with them and tagging along to this important thing that Rand's leaving them behind, like they just left Muradin in like traditionally they wouldn't have left.
It's 10 days
for like
it's
for
10
like 3
days,
more days. Yeah. And they're just like,
well, I think it's only one more day because Muradin entered before Rand. But regardless,
he was in there like, but still two days, 1 day.
It's who gives a fuck?
If you're the Shido though, and you have a potential clan chief in there, do they just assume he's dead based on like the bullshit Couladin was spouting about like them being covered in cuts and you must have murdered him or something, and they brought weapons in there, or?
I assume so. Although I would love the idea of Muradin,
or are they just like flat out give it up on him, like because that seems
like it's a combination of A or B. But I love this idea that he comes out of the fog of Rodian.
He just walks out. He doesn't have any eyeballs.
A blind.
Is anybody here?
Just stumbling.
I did it. Is anyone here? I don't have my eyes.
We got a lot to talk about. We're really fucked up.
We were not who we thought we were.
We got some. Hello?
Just all alone, eating his own eyeballs. He's like, I'm good. I got plenty of food. I just
they're pretty much just like, you know. What would you do if like that was actually in the fight that happens later on in this book? He accidentally like you know lightning hits not just like a random building but also Muradin. No,
like Muradin. It's been 17 days. He just got out. Just stumbles out of the crystal columns, and then like Asmodean and Rand are just ripping each other apart. Just stray lightning bolt hits him. Oh, he's dead. Fuck.
Poor guy.
Oh man.
Tried his best for his people.
Poor Muradin, you know? Just abandoned by his clan, his brother. You know.
Anyway,
ripped his own eyeballs out.
Elaine is the woman for you. Is this your favorite Avienda?
Patrick said Melaine or Melindra. It was Melaine. It was when they first got there. There was like some wise ones there, and he's like, no, I think it's Melaine. I think he's just asking.
Okay, yeah. She's the ginger who's around, and
Melaine was like the young of the wise ones. She was the youngest of the wise ones, basically. She's described as like 40, and they're all described as like 60, kind of basically.
You know what that means? She's 69.
Yeah, probably.
Because the aging is, of course.
Study your math, Jono. Study your math.
Jesus Christ, 1 3/4.
I think it's funny when Rand realizes like him keeping his coat on keeps the heat off because it like keeps his shirt wet, and he can and he stays mildly cooler, and it's like, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
And I do like how instantaneously Avienda is like sticking to Rand, and Rand's like, well, clearly she's a spy. I just need to figure out what. Just instant. Like it doesn't even take like what he's like, well, this is weird. Clearly she's a spy for the wise ones. I just needed to figure out why she's spying on me.
It's fascinating how correct and wrong he is. Like
I mean he is, yeah.
She's a spy, but also she's just there to be there.
She's
and they
there
also
to, like,
really want her.
Keep their interests in his brain. It's not like And I mean I guess she's there to report information back.
Is that
which
spy
is
visor?
spy.
Like a combination of advisor and spy,
supervisor and spy.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Super spy.
Further.
I love how Rand compliments Egwene's braids, and she's like, "Fuck you," and he's like, "What? I like them." He has no idea. He has no idea.
This woman's crazy.
And then it is funny when Avienda starts telling Rand about how Elaine is for you, and describes her supple and strong limbs, and her bosom is fine, and her well-rounded hips.
How far do you think she would have gone after hips?
And then he's like, and then she goes, "Do you need to know more? I'll tell you more. I've seen her in the bathtub. Have you seen her in the bathtub? Oh, she should have arranged it. Anyway, I'll tell you about it."
Legitimate question.
He's like, stop it.
Legitimate question. How far do you think she would have gone? Like, so bathtub, like it's warm water, presumably. which is the best for softening the pubes.
What in her descriptions? Pretty fucking
Yeah.
far, apparently.
Yeah, like so for like if she's going to be trimming her pubes, like that's the warm water you want, that kind of thing. Do you think she would have gone all the way to like just like really like explaining like, all right, so her north tower is here. Well, it's a little tighter because she's younger.
Yeah, of course.
I
All of that would have happened. Yeah,
What do
like
you-
for sure.
I mean, I'm just
Again,
kind of
I don't think
interested
there's
to see-
lengths she wouldn't have gone to make Rand convinced that she was the right woman for him.
Her butthole is lightly haired, but it's more golden, so you wouldn't notice.
To the cervix, bro, obviously.
The cervix, Jesus. Yeah. It's like, hold on. We took these forceps, all right? And let's just is it the force? Not forceps. The fuck are they called? Doesn't matter.
Christian said this must have been written before RJ decided the Oath Rod gives people the ageless look. RJ hinted that the Aiel's gray hair was akin to the Aes Sedai's ageless look. Huh. Well, Melane's described as having yellow hair. Like, she has blonde hair still. She's not that old.
Yeah,
that's why I
she's still
said, like,
young.
she's described as being, like, one of the younger wise ones, like 40-ish.
Although Amise is technically young too, right? Like Cookie.
Well,
Lady
Amise is still young, but she's, like, you know, older than Melaine.
But she shouldn't be that old because I think it was during the Aiel War that she kind of.
I mean, I always pictured Amise as, like, late 50s or mid 50s.
But if you're late 50s,
maybe even 60,
late hundreds.
Bear, I picture as like 70. Like,
Or
she
back.
is an old lady, you know. She's an old back.
But
You could steal a marble eye from her, though.
But to look 50, you have to
Yeah.
be 100.
Well, I mean, I don't think she looks. I mean, the agelessness is from the Oath Rod.
Yeah, I know that. But the whole point is, even for them though, for the
To like have gray hair. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
point. Like, you still kind of look young, but you have gray hair. But I'm saying Melaine doesn't even have the gray hair yet. Meaning she's
no,
still
but I think
younger
that his
than
point was not for Melaine, but for the rest. Like the rest, their ages seem a little off. When was
Oh.
Amise born?
I thought we were still talking about which one Matt found attractive.
Oh, maybe I
what
took
that
this
meant.
literally. Yeah, chime in before
yeah.
we finish this shit. All right, where are we here to finish this up? Oh, we're switching to
Yeah, last line of fear. It's the slowing, not the Oath Rod. Yeah. Bear is
Which-
Granny Clampett. That's an old reference.
Oh, that's not an old reference. Rob Schneider is in that movie.
Not the movie.
Well, first off, it's not the mama, to go with a different reference, but also that means that movie is the same age as presumably Home Alone 2.
I guess so. I never saw that movie. Why would you? It's Rob Schneider.
I love that my A to B is Rob Schneider.
Well, it's about as old as Home Alone 2 then.
Yeah. All right. So,
We switched to Matt's perspective. So basically, like, the last thing is Amanda says, like, well, this will make you happy. Elaine meant every word in her letters to you. And he's like, every word?
doesn't make
It's like one letter contradicts the other one almost point for point. What does this mean?
it's so annoying.
He's just so confused.
Like if you
Surf
had just
Ninja?
told me years ago, like my first reading, that this
Yeah.
was like supposed to be a joke, I'd be like, oh, because like reading it like straight up, I'm just like, fuck you, fuck this letter,
Mhm.
fuck this series of letters is the most annoying goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Which is on me apparently.
So we're on Matt. Let's talk about Matt now.
Peddlers.
I like how Matt's like, I don't know why he puts that with her. And it's interesting the heat's killing him because it's the sweat stinging his wounds from the fight. But it's because he refused healing from Moraine. Did he refuse healing from Moraine because he's crazy? Or did he refuse healing from Moraine because he doesn't know what that fucking medallion does yet? He's just, I don't want the fucking one power to touch me, period. You know?
I
right?
feel like this was done, like he doesn't know. So I feel like this was done as a kind of
It's
like
done
surprise.
to delay us from knowing what the
100%, yeah. And it makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah, the peddlers, the one the scout, the maiden scout that comes back and grins at him was one of the ones that apparently taught him Maiden's Kiss.
and that's how they find out the peddlers are there.
Main's
What do you
kiss.
think about these peddlers?
I love them. This entire group is fascinating. Like they're.
I like how Ren says he came into the waste. I wonder if he will leave again. And I was like, is he talking about Asmodean? Like, does he know what's going on right now? Like,
Ren.
I mean, Lanfear did mention like her plan to have like a male Aes Sedai teach him, right? You know, like he does have that in his knowledge.
Yeah.
So it's not like that crazy,
Yeah.
but like it seems like he knows more. Oh, maybe that's like one of the answers he asked for in the doorway.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know. But the fact is that Rand has suspected something the entire time. And this is mighty fucking suspicious. Like these guys somehow made it hundreds of miles without any Aiel finding them. Like that's fucking suspicious. And then of course, you know, when he's confronted with this news, like ashen face, but bloodless eyes, like just no fucking like no reaction to those black eyes. And like so he's just kind of like, oh, okay. Again, I think that these are some of the coolest characters. Like the three main characters here, Kadir, Kael, and Jason Attale are some of like, the most interesting fucking characters. Also, they repeats a couple of them. They're Forsaken.
Hey, just
a heads up.
Just so you know, not everybody's supposed to know about it, but it's a sale.
I think they're fucking fascinating as shit. And also, like, it gives glimmers into like
I love the
hierarchy
Lanfear
and all that
misdirect of her being the hot one and not the fat one, because like she's so concerned about how she looks that she's no possible way that she could be describing herself or just disguising herself as the.
She is described as, and no offense, I think the fattest person in this entire series. Like her
fatter than Chell Vanadis, who is described as a fat sack of suet,
like
sitting atop a saddle.
I think the description is like fat sinking her eyes like so much that
they
like,
described roles for sure. You know what's funny? Like I always thought of Kadir as fat, but he goes out of his way to be like, oh, he's not fat, he's just really big.
Yeah, he's big,
like big,
he's like,
like muscular big. Yeah. And I'm like, so he's like Kingpin?
Yeah, like he's a in shape dude. He could have been an innkeeper on a different day.
Yes. I just always thought of him as fat. Maybe I just mixed him and Lanfear up, I guess, or mixed them together, sort of in my brain.
I don't know if I would watch that.
I like how he describes it as she moved with incongruous lightness, which I thought was one hilarious, but also like the way she moves makes it seem like the fat's not really there. Isn't that the most obvious disguise in the world?
Tell that to Bran Alvear.
I mean, yeah, that's true. He was literally described as light on his feet by parents.
Just last episode.
Yeah, just a couple chapters ago. But also, still, I don't know. I just thought it was like either Robert Jordan really likes fat people that are quick on their feet, or maybe this fat person isn't really fat.
So ends up at this point, we had talked to Maria, and I think she mentioned, not at all, this is during his BBW period.
God damn it. Okay. Yep.
Anyway, so
he was a fan of Chris Farley. That's good. That's a good point. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good example. That's how I picture Bran.
It really is. He had watched the entire Chippendales skit, and he's like, well, I'm writing this in, I'll tell you that. But I'm going to change gender. I'll tell you what, this Chris Farley, he's a joker. Let's have him as a woman.
So Matt buys his hat, and then he's like, Rand's like, we ride with evil now, Matt. Watch yourself. And he goes, he's evil? And he was like, you can tell by the eyes. I'm under a lot of watchful eyes. Rand, you're losing it, bro.
The last line I noticed, it was, it has begun. Like, he straight up just Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah. He's like, and the game started.
Yeah. You got any other fat jokes before we finish?
Do you guys even watch porn? Not anymore. Yeah, married.
Yeah, the answer is yeah. Yeah. Why do you ask? Yeah, I said BBW.
Yeah, she said, how do you know what that is? I mean, you can know things. Anyway. I like how he goes, Moraine's watching me, the wise ones are watching me, and even don't forget Lanfear. And Matt's like, Lanfear? What the fuck? I gotta get out of here.
Did he tell him about the chapter icon? He should have told Matt about the chapter icon.
Yeah, he should have just told
Lanfear's.
Matt about the chapter icon. Yeah, it's much more clear when you know the chapter icons.
It makes things so that's our episode for this week. If you have any comments or questions, guess what? Just hold them.
Just hold it. Just hold it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Or leave them below.
Ask us.
Yeah.
We've gotten a lot of questions lately in our email about how we like to do our episodes. Ends up it's I sent 1,000 emails to the guy. Found out he was spam. Really
You're replying to that. You're replying to that bot.
Yeah, it's really disappointing. I should not have sent him that picture of my testicles, but
tWoTcast theme song is brought to you by the one and only Taffy Bennington and Andrew Bard of Time. Links to their stuff is below. Check them out. Jono, thank our guests.
Thank you, India. Thank you. Forget the next line of that Alanis Morissette song, but I appreciate all of you. And I appreciate you, Alanis. Without you, I wouldn't have been able to do it. It being, of course, thanking. I also want to thank alcohol.
Join us next episode for more Wheel of Time, covering more of the Shadow Rising, part 11, chapters 37 through 40. We got a little off track with the last episode. We're back on track. You know, we'll be good. I think we're good.
I think we're fantastic.
Go ahead, John.
So that's our episode this week. I forget what the fuck
Jesus
I'm not in this show. I'm John.
I'm Joe. Say goodnight, Jono. And Tom was here.
He was.
And you filthy animals.
I got a pee-pee.